How the heck are you guys? I am Bassidius. Welcome to an official rating of all the exclusive artifacts in Watch of Realms, and a big, friendly, loving welcome to my two guests, Ronaldo and the Prospector. Let's go down the line and have you guys introduce yourselves. How you doing, Ronaldo?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me, Festi.
Amazing. It is my pleasure. And Mr. Prospector, great to have you here as well.
Great to have you on here, man. I'm happy to be with you.
Amazing.
Getting real excited about this tier list here.
Yes, and we have to get into it. It took me way too long to set this up. We are live on Twitch. We've resolved our echoing issues and all that stuff. You can see we have all 58, count them, 58 exclusive artifacts loaded into this tier list. I've got my live editor open over here so we can live set the ratings on my website. And then I've got the website open so we can go to each artifact as we discuss it and see what it does at its base promotion at +10, and then 5-star promotion +25. Everything's ready to go. I say we hop right in and let's actually decide what each one of these tiers on our tier list mean. So I've got an idea of it. What I'm thinking, boys, let me know if this works. I'm going to pitch you my idea for like how we're going to define our rubric for each tier, and then we can all collaborate and chat as well. You can let us know anything you want us to change. Does that work?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Cool. Okay, so S+, I think we'll be on the same page here. S+ is, regardless of any situation, always the best artifact for this hero. So even like base promo, Virna or Hex or Sun Wukong, that's who I think off the top of my head, that is their best artifact, right? That works? So let's do like best no matter what, you know? Or best even at promo 0. Something like that. Does that work?
That works. Sounds good.
So then for S, I'm thinking top tier at some promo. Something like that. Like maybe like Silas. You know, if you get Silas like promo 4 or 5, it's going to be his best for almost all content.
Mm-hmm.
For the next one, this is where it gets a little harder. This is like very good artifact for some content, but maybe not every piece of content. We'll show examples as we go through.
Yeah.
Situational.
Yes, let's just call it situational. That's better. Situational. I spelled that right. Okay, this one is gonna be specific, maybe. I was thinking, or like niche.
Niche, yeah.
Like good for a very specific thing. Like I'll tell you off the top of my head, like maybe like Aylin's artifact, if you want her solo healing in Void Rift and being invisible, you know? And then finally, really not best. Like, and we'll get into that. I'll tell you, when I think of this one, I think like Lasir. There's like no content. I think I'm running Lasir in his artifact over a Nightmare Samsara or something, or even a Tome of Horror, right? Does this work? Do we think, chat? Do we like these? I'm going to assume yes. All right. Are we ready, boys? Should we go right down the list? We got a ton to do.
I'm ready and excited.
Okay. I guess let's just go down here. Now, we got to go here because I don't know if I recognize every single one. So we'll start off with Abomination. So if you guys don't know, Abomination's artifact was recently buffed. I think the way we'll do this artifact by artifact, I'm going to redo the base promo, the max promo, then maybe we'll go down the list. Ronaldo, you give thoughts. Prospector, you give thoughts. So you can see here at base promo, during the ultimate, increases AoE damage by 20% and initial rage by 450. And then at max, everything's the same, except the initial rage is now 700. I guess the one thing I need to point out, let's go to his kit. You can see his ultimate at max skill ups is 700. So it's instantly ready to go. What do we think, Ronaldo?
I like it a lot, actually, especially with the buff now. I even used it pre-buff for Gear Dungeon 2 Stage 10 on a takeover because I needed his ultimate to be ready faster to time his ults properly. So I think he's, I think it's a great artifact. It's not on the level as Hex, but that's also mainly due to the character.
All right. And what do you think, Prospector?
We're on the same page. I think it's a pretty good artifact. It's nothing game changing, but it does fit him really well compared to what your options are anyway. So
I think my thought about it is with the other good fighter artifacts and with the fact that once he has to like 2 ults off, he's like not going to take damage a lot. So I'm thinking Frigid Flame. A lot of times you want him to tank, so maybe you want a Lunacy Visor. Key of the Forsaken, give him some more HP. Eye of Sin for that AoE damage. I'm just wondering where it falls here. It's obviously not this, right? I think we can agree it's probably not S. But is it situational or niche? That's the question. I think I know it.
Definitely A in my books.
Definitely A, Prospector?
Yeah, I think I'm going with situational for sure. Going A.
All right. For me, I would have put it like the higher end of B, but that's why there's 3 of us. That's actually a great thing that there's 3 of us. Someone can always be outvoted. Okay, perfect. Nice and easy. I will say, I think this is slept on because getting that ult up faster for certain content, like you said, is huge. And the damage boost now is pretty cool. Sweet. We got Ein, our first of a couple epics we have to do. Let's go to Ein over here. Go back to exclusives only. You can see the Sorrow's Veil at +10 base promo. During the ultimate, increases damage by 10% and deals 15% extra damage to targets with shields. And then at max, these both increase. So now the increased damage is 20% and it's 30% extra damage to targets with shields. What do we think here?
Should I go first?
I think we should always have you go first just to make it so we always know.
I think the problem is that it increases his damage output and his damage is very low and neglectable. So in my opinion, it's nice to have, but you don't really need it anyways because the damage increase for such low numbers is just not gonna cut it.
I agree 100%. I don't think that. I think he could use some more utility. Most of the epics exclusives, I think utility is more important than damage increases. So yeah, it's just not really there.
I agree. I think it's weird because he's just not a DPS at all. I was just quickly looking at his kit to see if there's any reason you'd really want to ult spam, but you're just getting more damage there. Gun to my head though, like, is it really better than like just running him in a Watchguard's Ambition or something? I don't know. Maybe for very specific content when you progress. So I'll tell you, my gut says it is niche. It's definitely not a C. It's not like outclassed by something for everything. But like if you're a new account and you get this right, Guild Boss Watchguard's pretty dang good now, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's a good placement.
All right, we got a real juicy one now. I'm sure we'll all have thoughts. Ajax, whatever you want to call this boy. Quite the nice one. Let's head over here. Let me read it to you, and then we'll get some thoughts. The order's going crazy. Where are you? Dragon's Bane. During the effect of Destructive Breath, which is his ultimate, I'm almost certain. Let's double check that. It's hard memorizing all the names. Let's go. Ultimate Destructive Breath, yes. So during that effect, if I can pull it back up, he increases his attack by 15%. Post-deployment boost is huge, and the effect lasts another 5 seconds. At max, everything's the same, except that post-deployment attack boost is now all the way up to 30%. Mamma mia. So equal to a Tear of Twilight with 5 extra seconds on his actual ultimate to begin with, which, by the way, only lasts 5 seconds. Now it lasts 10 flipping seconds, so twice as long. It's kind of insane. All right, Ronaldo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is top tier. This just makes such a big difference on Ajax. When I first used this on a takeover, I was like, that's a different hero here. Because just the double amount of ult uptime is just nuts. It's just such a big difference maker.
Are we in agreement, Prospector?
Yeah, I think just like you said, you're getting that Tear of Twilight effect, plus it's doubling the time of his ult. It really makes a huge difference on Ajax's damage overall. And he already doing quite a bit with just a Tear, so...
I guess just to be devil's advocate, what I would say is Tear of Twilight, yes, there's the contingency when the HP drops, the effect is halved, but like the base promo's 20, right? And 20%, and then it goes up to 30. So maybe there's a break point. So that's why I'd say it's between S and S+, but I do defer to you guys. And I agree, just the whole thing lasting 5 extra seconds is crazy, right? That's pretty crazy. So I think we've got our first of what I'd assume is only a couple, our first S+. And a reminder to viewers, especially if you're just joining live, this is like, even at base, you're using it, in all content. And I do actually think this is the case, right? especially where he's popular. Like in Guild Wars, that thing lasting 10 seconds and they don't know it's going to last 10 seconds is insane.
Yeah.
Now we've got Alaura. Alaura. This is the second or third newest, maybe the third newest one in the entire game. I'm going to have to start searching for them now to find them. I don't know why this isn't in full alphabetical order. Alaura increases anti-air damage by 15%. Scattered shots, that's her bouncing thing that bounces twice. It can now bounce an additional time, dealing 40% damage. And then at max, everything's the same except the anti-air damage boost is 25%. What do we think of Falcon's Crest for Alaura?
I hate it.
You hate it?
I cannot stand it. I think it would have been such a good thing to give her a good artifact to really buff her up, because she has a very unique kit, but she has low attack and no penetration, so I'll just use Daedalus Gaze on her. I don't like her artifact that much. She just needs something else to deal with high defenses.
What do you think, Prospector?
Yeah, it might be a hot take, but I'm not really a fan of Alora's artifact. Especially with the way that the scattered shots kind of work there. They don't seem to be very consistent, especially if you're using her obviously for gear rate 319, and it just doesn't work really well like you think it would.
I feel like it's always you two against me a little bit. I feel like you guys are saying it's C. To me, it's definitively B. If you don't have good gear, it is her best artifact, in my opinion, for Gear 8-3. So I would give her a B for that. But yeah, it is completely overrated. And I agree with what you both touched on, which is like, this was an opportunity. It was our first ever, for anyone who doesn't know, History of War, our first ever exclusive fragment shard summoning event for an artifact. And it's like, yeah, if you had a max out Spirit Siphon, or if you had a max out Idril's Gaze, and as long as your gear is like pretty good, it's outclassed left and right. I will say, if your gear's not good, I found that it's fine. I hate Alaura to begin with, so it's hard to really care about this.
Yeah, I was really hoping that this would help her out, and that's kind of maybe that put some disappointment on it. But yeah, I would say in between B and C as well. So I mean, somewhere in there.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
You think it's above or below Ein? Not that it matters too much.
I'd even go below.
Say, yeah.
Okay. Wow. I would have got above, but fair enough. All right. So we got another B on our list. Let's save that. Who is up next? We have got, I believe that is Anora. This is a fun one. I just love Anora ever since her buff. And then I also got Ymerit. She's such a good hero. Okay. Base promo plus 10 increases attack by 10%. So 5% less than Ajax and 10% less than the Tier Twilight. After, though, she casts her ultimate, Labor, which is her summon who deals crazy damage. His AoE damage is permanently increased by 5%. You can get 3 stacks of this, so it's a 15% boost. This is a lot of her damage. When Labor kills an enemy, it restores 3% rage for Anora. This effect can trigger only 1 time every 5 seconds. I gotta say, that last condition is a little disappointing. And then finally, the full promo, the 5-star version plus 25. Everything's the same, except now a much nicer post-deployment 20% attack boost. What do we think here about Anora?
I mean, it's the only real way to passively get her rage back, and the damage increase is nice as well. I think it's very good. I don't think it's on the same page as Ajax's, but I could be wrong here.
With Anora's artifact, I think that it at maxed out, I think it's a pretty good artifact. But if you bring it down to just a rank or tier 1, I don't think it's in my page. I wouldn't be really big on it. So, I mean, put it on her because it's nice to put on her, but I think it definitely could be better. I wish they put that attack percentage a little bit higher.
I think, again, I'm a little on the other side of you two. I love this artifact. Obviously, it's not going to be at the level of Ajax. I agree. However, because she can't benefit from rage regen percentage and stuff from Eloin and everything, like what Ronaldo said, for any content where she's going to kill with any consistency, it is a great way to get her ult back up quicker. But obviously, it's very much somewhere here, right? Because it's like you need to get it closer to that 20% to keep up with the 30% from Tier Twilight. So I really think it comes down to, is it like low S or high A? It kind of sounds like your guys' guts are saying A.
I'm with you actually. Low S, high A, somewhere like that. So it's really
Yeah, I agreed with that too.
I
up
think
to
Around
you
S.
here.
or we could do like high A for now, and then we'll see how this is shaping up and see what our gut says at the end, maybe.
Right.
Because I don't see this getting passed by other A artifacts, so we know to revisit it. But yeah, I think I got this promo 2, I believe. I think if this was like promo 4 plus, it might be amazing. I do think the way we're defining this, actually, the way I'm envisioning S is like once you have promo 4 or 5, now it's the best in everything, right? Chat's saying that it feels a lot worse than Tier Twilight at promo 0. I agree with that. I'll say though, like if you're using her in Guild Wars defense or something, or Gear Aid 1, which I think are her most popular places, you notice she's ulting a lot more. For sure. As long as there's like, necromancers summoning all the time, so there's tons of stuff to kill, or of course if it's geared 1 and you can just kill everything. Okay, let's leave it there for now. Here's everyone's favorite hero, Apsan, Aspan, if you will.
Aspan. Yep.
Really don't like this guy. I mean, who the heck does? Let's check him out. I even typed ass for a second.
So used to typing it too.
The Wailing Tusk, it's just disturbing giving him this artifact because it implies kind of with Ein, but on a way worse level, that they don't understand who this hero is. Extends the duration of Glory Recalled by an additional 10 seconds. TBD if that's his ult or his passive, I can't remember. While Glory Recalled is active, increases damage by 15%. And then at max, the extension of this actually both improve in a pretty mighty way. Glory Recalled is an extra 5 seconds, so 33% longer at 15. And then the damage boost is 25%. Let's show that over here. Okay, I should have gone with my gut. I knew it wasn't his ultimate, because why would anything good happen from that short, random, single target, multi-hit ultimate? You can see the passive over here. Glory Resolved is within 15 seconds of deployment, every basic attack triggers Piercing Javelin. And that's like a special effect he has that deals like a little extra damage. You can see it penetrates 2 enemies, dealing 100% damage. Airborne units take more. It's so bad. Like, he's so bad. I actually probably at some point, I need to figure out who's the worst hero in the game right now, but Apsan is just dog water. So it definitely makes him better. I don't know. What do you think, Ronaldo?
I'm with you on the statement about Ein. I think he's not a damage dealer. I mean, he tries to, but hitting with like a wet noodle, giving him a little bit of a damage increase is not going to make any difference at all.
Same page. I've never even put the artifact on him to test it out, to be honest with you. So
I unfortunately have. I mean, it makes his damage better, undeniably. The problem is, and let me explain it for any Apsan lovers out there. I'm sure I'm not even sure. I was going to say, I'm sure there's one of you. There might not be. The place I use him, there's 2 places you can use him in this game, right? There's Faction Trials. Faction Trials, he is a warm body. It's like you only have Livian and then you pull Apsan, because it's like Livian, Aracha, Apsan. You're very constricted to have melee units. I think those are the only 3 until Numera joins the game. So in that respect, it's like all you want there is a Lunacy Visor. You want extra block and you want healing. It's that simple. And even if you didn't run that, you would just do like a Watchguard's Ambition or something simple just to keep him spamming. So that's my first thought. Or even the Medal of Fortitude or whatever, like the epic artifact to give him a shield for a second.
Yep.
So that one use case, you're not using this. The other one, maybe you are, and that's Gear Aid 3 if you use them in the middle, like Aracha or Arrogance or something like that, or Eris now. However, probably you want him healing himself back up with the Lunacy Visor. I guess if you had a good healing from Hollow or Eloin or Vortex, whatever you choose to use, then you don't need it. So that would be the only case I can think of. I would say it's niche B. You can't really put it C because we can think of one case, but very niche, right?
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah. They did him so dirty. I honestly think you could double his DPS and he'd still be bad. Like every number could be 2x, and it's crazy. What they should do is keep the exact same multiplier as everything and make everything he does like a 10-hit AoE. then he could do something.
They should just keep everything and triple his damage against anti-air. Have him like specifically be a demon against anti-air.
That'd be pretty good. Yeah, so if you get him, you're like, all right, he's going to help me. Like, how is he's literally Arrogance without Allured in Gear Aid 3 is probably 5 times better than Apsan with Yovar.
Yeah.
which is unthinkable. At least 5 gnomes better, let's be honest. Okay, speaking of the devil, we got Aracha. Let's pull her up really quickly. There she is. Arachno, Shroud. This makes me think it's Aracha, right? Because Arachno, I don't know. Base promo, basic attack restores 1% rage. The ultimate duration becomes infinite starting after the 3rd activation. And then at max, it's 1.5% rage, and everything else the same. So basically, you want her to get 3 ults off, then her ult's going to last the whole time. Her ult is really good, especially since the buff. That being said, she's mostly always there just to be a lord. But with that ult, she increases her damage and can hit an additional target. So this helps her get the ult up faster and then makes it permanent. What do we think about Aracha?
Now, this has been one of my first artifacts I got, and I actually like it. I think her damage is not that high even with her ult up, but the utility you get from having her ult up with the consistent stuns you get through and the extra hit, I think it's one of the best artifacts she can have. Of course, there's other utility artifacts, but I think it's a good one.
Yeah. Prospector?
I'm going to agree with him 100% on that too. I really like having it on her. So I like to bring her into like Guild Boss 2 and stuff with those stuns and everything going. It's really nice to have on her.
I'm just wondering, is there like a way she does does she do the webs more if she's ulting or something?
Yeah, because she's hitting more targets.
Oh, I see. Yeah. They're counting all of those as individual like instances attacks. Is that how it's working?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that makes her even. I already liked this. That makes it even better. Yeah, I would say this is like probably definitively S, right? You know, it's not gonna be her best for no promo and stuff, but I mean that's a good one, right? That is a good one. So I forgot to put the Anora rating in. I guess for now we'll leave her at A. Let's go back over here. We got to get Apsan going, our beautiful B. And then finally, you guys are getting a sneak peek of the CMS. Then let's get Aracha over here. And our first S of the day. There she is. All right, sweet. Nice and fast. I think we all hard agree on that one. Up next, we have got Arrogance. This is a spicy one, right? It's a good artifact, but Arrogance can benefit from a lot of artifacts. So what are we thinking about Arrogance's artifact over here? Let me pull it up so we can all read. And let's see. At base promo, increases damage dealt to targets inflicted with burning by 20%. Any viewers that don't know, Arrogance puts out a lot of burning, as do like a lot of the Nightmare units he might be paired with. During the effect of Hellfire, attacking nearby enemies will also inflict burning on them for 5 seconds. And then at max promo, it goes up to a 30% damage boost, and everything else remains the same. So you get a nice boost, and then you can have some extra burning to extra enemies. What do we think, Ronaldo?
It's a strong damage increase. I know a lot of people use before you have it maxed out the Realm of Tear. But once you get to a certain point, I think Arrogance's own artifact is, I'd say, I can already throw in an approximate rating for me is S.
Prospector?
I'd say I have a different, the same rating as Ronnie here, but there's different situations in the game where the Realm Tear is going to be better for you, and then there's other ones where the Eye of Mockery is going to be better for you. But I think when the Eye of Mockery is maxed out, I think it's pretty much going to end up being your best in slot for most scenarios.
Yeah, I think you guys are both spot on. It's very hard with how we define the tiers to know where to put it. I am inclined to give it S for a specific reason, right? So the Realm Tear, you can get 8% damage at max promo when 1 tile away, and that increases with tiles. So with Arrogance, from all the testing, it seems they count the tile he's on, so you can get to 32% damage. But there's no boss content where you can get the 4 tiles, right? So you're always getting those 3, basically. Unless maybe Guild Boss 2. I guess that would have to be tested. So that's the only use case I could think. So the damage is like, yep.
The reason why it's always been used in the bosses is because it's bugged on the bosses and it counts as the max range.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, for Guild Boss 1, yeah.
Well, in that case, then Realm Tear should definitively be better, right? Because the other benefit...
Maxed out Arrogance's artifact is better.
So how would that work then? If you're saying maxed out, this guarantees the 32% or whatever, how could Arrogance's artifact be better when the additional when the additional
Because of
effect.
the burning.
Yeah, but the burning is on extra targets, right? During the effect, attacking nearby enemies will also inflict burning on them. Oh, it's like I see. I always was thinking of that as like enemies nearby the main target. So it's just basically all of his attacks place burning now. Okay, so for that reason, I think we can all agree. This is the definition of S. Right? Like
Yep.
I didn't realize that's how it's going to work. Basically, like Lust's passive now. Anything nearby, it's going to be burning. So there's clearly a point where that burning equals the damage percent is high enough that with the burning, it will always be his best, right?
And
Yeah.
plus, outside of boss content, I mean, if the enemies get closer to him, then
sure,
the realm
yeah.
tear kind of starts to fall behind.
That's for sure. Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. But you definitely convinced me with that, Ronaldo and Prospector. Thank you. Up now, we've got Aylin, one of the more niche in the game. So let's see if we end up rating it there. It's a very weird artifact if people have not seen this before. It scales very interestingly too. At base promo, 60 seconds after deployment, gains permanent invisibility and increases attack speed by 50. And then at max, every time it's going down by 5 seconds, now 35 seconds after deployment, she gains permanent invisibility and increases attack speed by 60 seconds. What do we think here?
What I think when I look at her artifact is I really want to see how these tower stages are going to look like and if that artifact is going to have some value, because potentially it could be super good, right? When you can use it and basically have a cheat code for some hard content, but there is not really the cases where you need it at the current state of the game.
Yeah.
It's mainly about the invisibility I'm talking about. You can't really put a value on that.
What do you think, Prospector?
I'm on the same page. Yeah, 35 seconds after deployment. Even if you wanted to use it in like Gear Raid 3 or something like that, you got 35 seconds. If you want to try to keep the target off of Aylin, I mean, she's going to become the target, and then it's going to go back to the other one. But you know, it's not going to help her not get hit. So I can't really think of a good reason why you need to be invisible.
Yeah.
Unless, you know, it's just weird. Maybe like guild versus guild. I'm not really sure. Honestly,
I hate this artifact. It makes no sense to me because like she heals and every one of her heals is AoE. So it's not even like where I would think like, oh, you can place her and then someone else in like a questionable range, but now you know she's going to keep healing someone else. So then it's good that she's invisible. But it doesn't matter because she's always going to be healing AoE anyway. So I just don't. I agree with you, Ronaldo. Content could come, but in my head, no content exists right now where you would use this over Euphoric Orb, or you would use it even over like artifacts I don't like the Bright Root Fever or whatever. I don't know. Can you think of a current
Golden Scarab or something like that? You know, instead of that.
Totally. Yeah, Golden Scarab Core. Can you think of a current use case, Ronaldo, or is this speculative mostly?
That's mostly speculative.
Yeah. I feel like I want to put her in C if she can be at the highest one in C, and then like, you know, for because also the attack speed boost, like who the heck cares about 50 or 60 attack speed when you're at the level of having exclusive artifacts and promoting them? I just don't see a use for it personally. Are we okay with this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's extremely niche. If there is a case, it'd be extremely niche.
Yeah. You know, it would work if like she would be invisible but still register as the last place unit, so then they would just have no idea who to hit. But for sure what they're going to do is just move on to the unit placed before her. Like that's what they do in Gear 3, so okay.
The whole invisibility thing, they should give invisibility like some damage reduction or something like that when you're invisible.
That would be
from
cool.
AoE.
That would be really cool. Yeah, like minus 20% incoming damage. I would like that a lot. All right, our first C of the day. Thank you, guys. Up next, we have got, I believe that is Azhor, if I'm not mistaken. Let's double check that. Azhor and Cratch, funny enough, their artifacts look pretty similar. Yes, that is Azhor. At base promo, during the ultimate increases block by 1. When in heated state, which I'll explain in a second, the chance to inflict stun increases by 10%. There's a little formatting error there. I'll change in a second. So more often he can stun. Each attack restores the hero's HP equal to 3% of max HP. At max, everything's the same, just each attack now restores the hero's HP by 8%. So that is really crazy. 8% heals every single hit. What do we think about Azhor over here?
I think it's a good artifact. It is just a very the specific use case where it's a very good, for example, is to get some bonus stuns in Guild Boss 2, but he's very hard to use due to the RNG. You really need to time everything properly. This is kind of the main issue, and you have such good tank artifacts outside of that.
Prospector, what are your thoughts on it?
I think it could be useful in some other situations just besides Guild Boss 2, but I think it's pretty niche. So for that reason, yeah, I'd say it's kind of the same kind of scenario there as Ronaldo here. Although I did do really well with him in Guild Boss 2, so I know he can do a really good job tanking and doing those stuns, and this artifact is a pretty big key of it. So
Yeah, it's weird because it's like, how do you rate such a specific artifact for such a bad hero or such a specific hero? I guess definitely not bad. There are really good tank artifacts, like we've said. So it's an interesting trade off. I would say though, and I think we're all kind of touching on it, for his most specific use, right? Which is like you bring him into Guild Boss 2, you make sure you never ult, so he always remains in the heated state. That works out pretty good. So, you know, it's obviously not going to be universal the best thing possible, but for where you kind of want him, the stuns are better and it's good. Let me refresh this. I don't know why the heck it's not updating. We'll have to figure this out with the 1 and the 0 here over here, guys. I think it's probably like the low end of situational. What do you guys think?
Is situational 8 here? I can't. barely
That's
see it.
that's
Oh, yeah.
A. Sorry.
Yeah, 8 here. I agree, 8 here.
yeah,
Cool.
yep.
Yeah, I think somewhere right under Abomination is good. I think it's better than Niche because the situations you want him, it's a pretty darn good choice.
Yeah.
He becomes Let's continue. I think that's enough Azhor conversation for the rest of my life.
I think if it
get
didn't have the increased block, I probably wouldn't be so. I'd probably put it down a stage actually. So, but the increased block. does
Well,
help.
I actually got to say, the way you're probably going to use him, you might never get the increased block, right? Because it's only during his ultimate. But I guess I actually, for PV, like for like non-boss PvE stuff, you could really pick and choose. So it adds some nice, fun
Right.
manual ability. Okay, this is a crazy one. Gonna be a crazy one to discuss. We got Brokkir. I think why I think it's crazy will become clear very, very soon. It's a very interesting artifact given who Brokkir is. We're having this 10% bug. I'm gonna have to get to the bottom of this. When deployed, increases block by 1, so just like a Bastion Ring. And when inflicted with freeze, the hero restores 10% HP and increases defense by 10%. At max, everything's the same except it's now a 20% HP restore and it's 20% defense. What do we think?
I haven't tested it. I don't know if it's better than Bastion Ring, so I have to give the word to you guys on this one.
I've tested this one a lot, but I'll let you go, Prospector.
I like to use it in Gear Dungeon. Like I put Brokkir on the top side, actually, like the top right there. And I don't have to worry about healing him quite so much because you can just activate his ultimate. So, and it kind of keeps him going with the shields and the healing and the whatnot. So I do enjoy it, but I typically put a Bastion Ring on him in most cases.
That's basically you actually stole my point. The only place I've ever used this with success is going to be the Gear Dungeon. I want to show you guys something. If we turn this off and show all the non-exclusives with Bastion Ring, I mean, for any content you're really using him as a tank, like where he's blocking multiple units, this is so crazy. He's blocking 4 units because he gets the extra block from Bastion Ring. That's 36% reductions added, right? It's so strong, and he doesn't freeze enough for almost any content. But that's a pretty key almost, because I do think it's at least on par with good gear. I'd say it's on par with Bastion Ring. The problem is I've used it with not as good gear when I do takeovers, and Bastion Ring still beats it, even only blocking the one Volca clone and like the archer guy that marches out. Because even those two, even like a promo, I forget what it is at base. I shouldn't have clicked off yet. If we go here to Bastion Ring, so yeah, it goes up by 1% each time, I guess. So let's say even at promo 2, let's say it was 6%. Even blocking those 2, that's still an extra 12% damage reduction. I find that makes the difference more than other stuff. I want it to be better because it's actually it is a nice artifact. It's just Bastion Ring is that good. That's gonna be an issue all the tanks have, right? Bastion Ring is maybe like the most definitive best artifact in the game, I think, for non-exclusives. The question is it situational or niche? I mean, clearly it's not C. I do think it's probably niche. That's kind of where I'm leaning. It's a B. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, sounds like it's not that reliable. Like not as reliable as a Bastion Ring, right?
Yeah, like either that or just like a lower situational thing. Because if you have the gear to build up his HP really high and his defense really high and Guardian set or whatever, then it can work out really well for you.
Exactly.
Especially if you need to put him in a situation where he's not healing.
Yeah, if you have good gear, I would say I'd say if you have good gear because like manually you can freeze him whenever you want if his ult is ready, right? I think if you have good gear, it's A. But since most people don't, and you're probably not gonna have many promos, I think it's like the very high end of niche.
Yeah.
All right, we got an amazing one here. Calista, our second newest artifact in the game. Let's pull her up. Let me read it to you, fellas. Pretty simple one as well. So AoE damage is plus 20%. That's just a full fact. It goes up to plus 30 at max promo. And then the second thing is consistent. Number of knockbacks from the talent is increased by 2. I believe the number of knockbacks from the talent is normally only 2. Yes, it is. So now it's 4. That's a lot better. What do we think of this one, guys?
I heard her damage is actually not too bad. It was maybe it was from you, Fasty.
Her damage is phenomenal. I
just don't really know the use cases of her outside of the gear dungeon. So I need to give the word to you guys on this one.
I'll let you go, Prospector.
As far as the AoE damage part goes, I mean, it's anything's good, right? It's an extra 30%. I don't think that her personally her damage is that high where the 30% is going to really mark up that well. It might. I don't know. I never really actually stuck it on her, but the knockback targets thing, outside of knocking back like 1 or 2 targets, I don't know where she'd really shine. Again, probably in GVG, which isn't really my expertise, so I'm not really sure on this one, to be honest with you.
I really, really like this artifact, and I'll explain. I've played with Calista a decent amount on the test server. Still need to make a guide on her on my account. But like, if we look over here at fighter artifacts, like what are the good fighter artifacts you'd use on her? I mean, unless you want her tanking, which you very well might, in which case Lunacy Visor can be really good for a lot of things. That'd be like the one thing I'd keep in the back of my head. Maybe you want her tankier with Key of Forsaken, but likely her DPS numbers are very high. Her and Eris both are like 2 new, very high multi-target melees we've got. If we look at Eye of Sin, the best you're ever getting from Eye of Sin, even with kills, at max promos, 30%. So by that logic, because that's what almost everyone's going to put on her, at max, she's getting that guaranteed with no kill condition. Granted, you have to max an exclusive. And she's getting the 2 extra knockbacks. To me, this is very borderline A or S. The extra knockback is crazy because her talent knockback is very RNG. It's like who's in front of her at that moment. So it's hard to control if you ever want to use her on the bottom of Gear Aid 4, Gear Dungeon 1, which she's not a good choice. I'm talking about the front spot on the bottom. It's always annoying talking about her because the back spot is where I would use her because her DPS is really high. I also find the extra knockback, just in theory, you think it would buy her some more time in Conquer, which I believe is the other place to use her. So it's very tough to say if it's A or S. I'll defer to you guys, but I'd say it's somewhere in between here. I think with full promos, the only way you would ever not use this would be like if for some reason you wanted her to tank with a Lunacy Visor, and that'd be it. What do you think?
Considering the way we're ranking this, then it should be S, not because of the strength of the hero, but on the synergy with the hero, right? And the other options you've got with her.
Totally.
You made a good point with the multiplier, 30% to 20%.
Yeah, and that is worth pointing out for sure. Like if theoretically a bad hero could get an S+ artifact, that doesn't mean they're an S+ hero, obviously. some heroes like Ajax or X are Ajax or Hex, but I don't know. What do you think? I feel like this is like the low end of S to me. What do you think, Prospector?
Yeah, if it stays on the low end there, I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah,
But definitely not on the high end, that's for sure.
but yeah, you could just like at some promotion it will be her best, right? Like
Right.
I think so. I mean, in theory, that's what we're doing. This is I don't know whose is this. I can't tell off the top of my head. This is the first one I can't recognize. Green glowing
Calypso.
thing. That's Calypso. Oh, looks kind of strange. Doesn't look like a bow there. Thank you very much. We have got Calypso. Let's find her. Let's search for her because I can't find her. Oh, she's the first one. That's why. What are you doing up there, Calypso? For every 12 instances of damage dealt by Sealstone, it's an additional 140% damage. It just deals it as bonus instance of damage. And then that goes up to 240%. If you have anything but an A5 Calypso, you can have 4 Sealstones, and she can be really fast. So maybe every 3 seconds you would get 12 instances of damage in the bonus. And then if you built it with a 1.0 second interval, and then if you had her A5, you can get another Sealstone. So it would be, I guess, 2.2 seconds, something like that. You'd have to average out over time because they're all attacking simultaneously. What do we think about Calypso's artifact, guys? Ronaldo?
Now, this one I tested back when it came out because I was like, damn, that sounds so good. It looks so good. Calypso is all of a sudden going to be hitting super hard. Going to make a video out of it. Tested it, and I was like, yeah, she's still the same. She's exactly the same as before. Didn't make any difference. I was very disappointed in it. It's good. She's just not that good, and it's not going to be like a Hex artifact that makes a big difference.
Prospector.
It's just good.
Yeah.
Well, you're pitting it up against what, Spirit Siphon, right? So I mean,
Yes.
it's difficult to beat that out. So I does that extra instance of damage count as a hit? Can you use that on like the Styx boss?
I
don't even know.
I have no idea how we would be able to know. We'd have to like go a frame by frame analysis. I feel like
Right, it'd be really difficult.
To be honest, though, if
Cool.
It would, but she gets so many hits out there. I feel like it's already overkill with a fast Calypso. It's hard to say. I did a head to head on this way back in the day, but that was with this at like base promo and Spirit at base promo, I believe. If anyone wants to try to dig up that video, it might have even been on another creator's channel. I can't remember, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's ever better than Spirit Siphon.
Yeah, maybe I have the numbers I'm looking, but I can't find it right now. I tested it. Yeah, it's just not. It was disappointing testing it. Let's just put it that way.
I think it's tough because it's not bad at all, right?
No.
I think it falls niche might be the wrong. Maybe it's like niche solid. Maybe we need to change it.
Yeah, I have it here. Guild Boss 1 Calypso did with Spirit Siphon 69 million, with her own artifact 68 million.
At max?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so then what I would say to that is the reason I wanted to change this name to like niche or solid is like it's comparable to the best option, right? So I don't feel comfortable giving it a C because if you don't have a maxed out Spirit Siphon, it's a good DPS option. It's probably her second best in the whole game, but we can't give her any higher than like B because it is outclassed by a normal one that you will promote way faster, right?
I would put it high B though.
High B? Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, being that close to Spirit Siphon, I think it would at least deserve that.
Yeah. It's just tough because like you want their exclusive to be special, and then it's like directly outclassed. But okay, B for Calypso. Now we've got Captain Reeve. This is definitely an interesting one. Let's go over here. Anchor of the Damned, base promo during the effect of Boiling Brine. That's his ultimate. Increases damage by 15%, and defeating a target increases attack by 1%, stacking up to 10 times. Now at max, increases damage by 20%, and defeating the target increases attack by 1% up to 10 times. So the second part remains the same. What do we think over here?
This really depends on for what you're using Captain Reef, right? If you're using him as a damage dealer, this artifact is super good on him. If you're using him as a tank, of course, you're using something else. But I think it's great if you use him as a damage dealer, right? You can use him for multiple different things, basically.
Yeah. Prospector?
Same page, yeah. You got the extra 20% damage, extra 10% attack. I mean, it's a great synergy if you're using him as a DPS, but if you want a tank, it's probably not going to be your number one choice.
Yeah, Reeve is my top DPS the way I run my Conqueror, because I do like a Morrigan comp and I put Reeve, I got A1 Reeve in front, he goes berserk. And this is his best artifact for sure for that. So right off the bat, it's really good. But there's so few places where you're killing enough enemies with Captain Reeve specifically doing his AoE. That's the only like active use case for it. Like Guild Wars, you're never using Reeve as a DPS at any medium or plus level. That'd be a big spot for Captain Reeve. Gear Raid 1, I mean, at a point you certainly could, but that'd be a crazy build you'd have to get on to make it relevant. I think to me, it's going to be the low end of situational, unless you guys have something else to say. So it's like there's one situation I could think of where it's insane, right? Conqueror. But aside from that,
I think
Agree.
I would even go high situational.
Okay.
Because when you're using it, it's the definite best, right?
Right.
I would say, unless if your gear's not as good, tuning crystal is really good for keeping him healed up there.
Mm-hmm.
However, if your gear's really good, it takes so long to reach a point in the battle where he's not just killing everything. I think right about here is good. I like it. I just love Captain Reeve. I want more awakenings. I hope he comes back.
His damage is really good.
It's really, really good.
But it's like you said, it's hard to keep enemies out there to keep everything going. So like as soon as his ult goes, everything just disappears.
Totally. That's an interesting thing with it, because can I find it really quickly, or do I have to search again? If we go here, I just wish this wasn't like a kind of condition with the stacking the attack, or I wish it maybe could go to like higher and last 20 seconds and then you lose all of it or something. I don't know. Because basically by the end of this, you've got a big attack boost and you've got the damage, but it's not enough to elevate him. Like, are you using Captain Reeve over Virna in Gear Raid 1? Like, no, right? So that's kind of where I stand. Okay, up next. I think we're making pretty good progress here, but maybe we need to pick up the pace a touch. We got everyone's favorite Hotsit. This is a very interesting one. The Aureate Visage. Sounds very fancy. Plus 10 base promo increases damage by 20% when the hero is invisible. And then also whenever you ult, you guarantee that invisibility, which is pretty spicy. At max, you get the guarantee of invisibility for 6 seconds instead of 3, which is very significant. I'm sure one of us will explain why. And also the damage increase when she's invisible is 30%. Pretty spicy artifact. What do we think, Ronaldo?
The artifact is very strong. The thing is, in many pieces of content, the problem is most people don't have it maxed out. But in many pieces of content, you're just going to go with an Idril's Gaze for Hotsoot. Or in Gear Dungeon 2, you even go for the healing, Ihor Kelis. So while it's extremely strong, it is not very much a necessity, if I can explain it that way.
Yeah. What do you think, Prospector?
Yeah, I agree. There's going to be some situational uses where you might want to use it instead. It's a big investment to get that maxed out, but I think
also
at base
this
level,
thing
it should beat Idril's Gaze, but I'm not
the
sure.
The thing is, you use Hotsoot in a lot of PvP as well, and there the defense is extremely high, which gives Idril's Gaze insane amounts of value.
Sure. I want to say really quickly, from my personal experience, this thing never drops, ever. I don't know. So like, I feel like getting this higher promo as well is like even harder, just as an aside. Yes. To me, this is the definition of situational. Any content you need her bursting a lot. So like Gear Raid 3 or like especially anti-air arena. If you just build her with all attack, it's enough. Like if you can get some awakenings, like this is the highest guaranteed damage you're going to get on the burst, and it's really good. However, excuse me, I'm a little sick. However, it's you definitely need a couple promos to get this thing cooking and starting to feel special. You're going to get those invisibilities up. You need it. I don't know, remember where the break point is, but if we go over here to her ultimate does last. Why can't I find her ultimate? There you go. Her ultimate does last for 4 seconds with skill ups, right? So at base, you're not even getting the boost for the entire ultimate because it's only going to send her into invisibility for 3 seconds. So that's kind of a fall off. And then what I haven't heard us mention yet is a lot of content. She might be doing basic attacks like all the time. So after the beginning of the battle, she's lost her invisibility. She loses the bonus. So like if you think of Guild Wars, the way Hotsit works, she's always basic attacking, and they finally break through. Then she finally ults. So those are special moments, right? That's where you're getting a lot of bursts, and that's why she's like kind of like annoying as heck on a Guild Wars defense. However, all the damage up until then is having no benefit after the first 40 seconds or whatever that she is invisible. So I actually think this is like the definition of situational. For like Gear Aid 3, if you had like 1 or 2 promos, I'm sure it's her best. And then for certain PvP arena stuff, I would say like smack in the middle of A. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that sounds fair.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Wait.
She does also gain a second or an extra
That's
second.
Cerberus's artifact, though, no?
Oh my god! Oh, this is you're right. This is hot sit. All right, well we're doing hot sit now. How crazy is it? Are they both? Is this also hot sit though? They look so similar.
Looks like
They
it.
do look really.
Look at this,
yeah.
Side by side. Look at that. All right, we're doing hot sit now. She goes right there. Okay, now Cerberus, who also has hot sit's artifact. Whoopsie doopsie. What the heck? That's so weird. Let's pull him up. This is a very strange artifact. Increases damage by 0.2% every time HP drops by 1%. When Water of Decay deals damage, there's a 30% chance of inflicting poison on target lasting for 10 seconds. Increases damage by 0.45% for every time HP drops 1%. When Water of Decay deals damage, there's a 30% chance of inflicting the poison. So the thing that changes is the amount of damage per percentage dropped. If you guys want to know, basically, so he dies. Actually, he dies, so 100%. I don't have to do any math for you. It's a 20% boost for the period of death afterwards, because that's how you use Cerberus at base, and it's all the way up to a 45% boost, which is insane at max promo. What do we think, Ronaldo?
The damage is actually kind of nuts when he dies, when he has that artifact on. Problem is, it's similar like you said on a hot, so it's very niche because the main use case nowadays is where you use him is in Codex, and you're just not gonna get away out of it. You need that lifesteal on him to keep him alive there.
Prospector?
Yeah, same. I think that on Gear Raid 1, you can use him as well if you're going to be cycling him in and out like that and just letting him die. And the damage is significant, like you said, but I don't think it's quite enough where you just put him down and he's going to clear a wave. Like, he's going to need a lot of help too. So
I think this is the definition of situational. Like, it is his best artifact for Gear Aid 1. And then if you do any funky strats, like I like to do on Takeover sometimes for Gear Aid 4, this is his best artifact. And that's, like you said, like that's it, right? The number one use case by a mile, what Ronaldo said, is Conquer, and you have to run him in Lunacy Visor. So I'd say like here, maybe. We can put them next to each other. That's pretty funny.
you can't tell which one's which.
Yeah. Okay, headed back over here. Now we've got Constance. This is something. Increases attack by 5% during the ultimate, heals allies in range, excluding the hero, for 8% base healing. And at max, increases attack by 5% during the ultimate, heals allies in range by 13% base healing. What do we think?
I think it's also situational. In most cases, you're going to use the Astral Obelisk for the rage regen and the attack increase. There are some cases where you can actually make use of that extra healing during our ultimate. But yeah, it's situational.
Prospector?
Yeah, I think that Astral Obelisk or even Keen in most situations that you're using him in, definitely going to be more inclined to use those instead of her exclusive. But I don't want to slam it too hard because I know there's a lot of people that are really big fans of this artifact.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely situational, I would say.
I can tell you which people, right? It's like if you have a couple promos into this, that like this is her best PvP artifact for sure. Like she can already kind of solo heal for like all those meta arena comps, and this makes it better. And this is definitely her best artifact for GVG. I actually don't have this artifact, which kind of blows. So I would say it's like a pretty definitive thing. Like there's almost no PvE content unless you're early in the game, still progressing through stuff, that you would want this, even over a Keen Wisdom, like you said, unless you had it max promo or whatever. And then Astro Obelisk, the rage regen is so valuable. But when you need the healing, it's kind of huge. I think this is just like top A. We feel good about that?
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, pretty quick one there. Awesome. Let's continue on. Now we've got my favorite hero in the game. We've got Cratch, the Cratch Daddy himself. Let's go back and find the guy. Molten Cog. Cannon Overload has a 50% chance to fire 3 extra cannonballs. This is his ultimate. And then at max, it now has an 80% chance. They don't even give him a 100% chance with his exclusive. I'll show you guys what Cannon Overload is really quickly for anyone that doesn't know. I mean, how could we not know, though? It's the ultimate for the best hero in the game. He fires 3 projectiles at random enemies in range, more RNG in this godforsaken kit, each time dealing 120% damage up to 5 nearby enemies. When the skill ends, there's a 50% chance to gain misfire. This is the worst ability in the whole game. Basically, you need A5 Cratch to ever make him usable. Misfire is a disaster. Okay, what do we think about Cratch's artifact over here?
Well, I'd say buff Cratch to this. Yeah. I don't have much to say. I think what are you gonna use on him, right? What is gonna make him viable?
That's the craziest thing. It's like it might still be like his best art. I mean,
yes, it could very well be, right?
Yeah. If you have someone blocking somehow or keeping them farther away from him, because remember his range is a nightmare, then like you might want to run the oh my god, what's it called? The pink one, the sharpshooter's arrow, sharpshooter's crest. But aside from that, you probably will always run this if you have him, which is this or Idril's Gaze, I guess, would be your options. But God, at the very least, they should have made this nullifies misfire. Because misfire can only be taken away, which is what blows my mind about Cratch at A5. And if people don't know what misfire is, he just like shuts down like Setchum for 5 seconds, and they tank his rage regen auto, so he gets no passive generation. So he can't attack, so he can't get rage that way. He can't get passive rage, so he can't get rage that way. So even though he's only a 600 or 500 with skill ups or 450, whatever ult cost hero, it takes him forever to ult because every time he finishes, he just kind of gives up half of the time. It's such a nightmare.
And it's not like his ult is a game changer or anything.
Yeah, I don't know where to put this.
I think I know a lot of people with an A5 Cratch, though.
I think he was my second A5, yeah. I was actually sad that he wasn't my first. Or maybe he was my first. No, Calypso was my first. Dang. I don't know where to put this. B or A, I guess. I mean, we don't have to talk about this anymore. Should we just put it at B? Because why should Cratch get A for anything?
Yeah, he's just showing that guy.
God, they do him so dirty. Yeah, or the artifact, someone said give him Ajax range. Yeah, because like that range is so teeny. That Beatrix Cratch range is so awful. My God. Kevin Zach is flexing in the chat. He said 18,000 summons and he's only pulled 2 Cratch. Must feel good. Here's a crazy one. Here's one of the more unique ones in the game. We got Dahlia. Orb of Ruin. I think Dahlia officially confirmed the trend that like every exclusive gets their own artifact right when it happens. Because that happened with Lust, and then Dahlia was like, all right, so this is what we're doing now. Increases attack by 10%. This goes up to 20 at max promo. Upon triggering her talent, there's a 40% chance to generate a mutated blossom 1 or 2. If it's a 1, it deals the additional effect 50% damage per second to enemies on affected tiles. If it's a 2, it reduces the effect duration to 5 seconds. And when it ends, it explodes, kaboom, for 300% AoE damage. I don't like the RNG component, but this is a really strong artifact. What do you guys think?
I think it's super good. I like it a lot more than Anora, right? They basically came out on the same time. Anora, sometimes I use Tear of Twilight. Here, I always just use Dahlia's exclusive artifact.
Even at base, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
The knock against 100%. It is the RNG, not knowing which blossom you get. If it was always mutated blossom 2, it's like such a definitive S+. But yeah, it's somewhere right in between these two. I don't know.
Top end of S, I think.
That's
Yeah,
where I
okay.
would that's where I would lean, because it's not like 1000% of the time do it. However, like if you're like me and like you've got a couple tier twilights and they're all over the place and you don't want to move them, you can just like turn your brain off and let her rock this. But I also say when I run her for my Guild Wars defense, I do run her in max out tier twilight over this. But if I have it base promo. If I had a couple more promotions, that probably is like the definition of S. It's really good.
Right.
It's really good. We love Dahlia. We love Dahlia. Who do we have after Dahlia is going to be, I believe that is Dasami, who's maybe my most wanted hero in the game right now. Dasami over here. Base promo. When basic attack grants magic incense, this is his special effect that can also do all the dispelling. There's also a 50% chance to grant the target a shield equal to 10% of their health. That lasts 6 seconds. And everything else is the same at max promo, except now the shield is 15% of the target's max HP. I will say just my gut reaction off of this when I first read it and reading again now, really cool at base promo, very underwhelming. It goes up only 5% more if you get 5 more copies of this. What do you think, Ronaldo?
I think the problem is also that the other healer artifacts are so good, so versatile, that it's hard to say, yeah, I really need this, you know?
Yeah. What do you think, Prospector?
I think I'm putting a scarab on him. Like, honestly, unless you have like really amazing gear. I mean, those shields are actually, they can really save your butt sometimes in Guild Boss 2. Other than that, or maybe the campaign stage, the new boss in chapter 10. But yeah, I'm definitely going with a scarab, but it's decent though.
Yeah, the scarab to me is like, it's so good for him, right? Because I just had to pull him up to double check, but like he can now heal more allies and gives out more magic incense when he ults. So you really want him ulting all the time. So you want that rage regen and like low key for longer fights, right? Dasami is such good inspiration. So like, why would you give up 5% bonus attack? And keep in mind that scarab is going to be probably plus 25 later on in the game. I only just pulled Dasami's artifact, or maybe I don't. Did I get? Maybe I just did. I don't know. I don't have him, but it's not like you're pulling it all the time unless you got some crazy RNG. I think this is borderline. I want to hear what you guys think. It's like borderline C. Like, how do you not run him in a scarab, or even keen wisdom for the inspiration,
or euphoric orb,
because you got big boy range. That's a great point too. Like, how do you not? Right? I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, the other healer artifact, 2 healers I'd see. Yeah, the healer artifacts are just
a lot of good ones.
I don't know. Yeah.
I it's tough. You can see 2 healers.
You could build like I don't know, 100% rage into his kit and still be really strong with everything else. And then but you just skip out on a scarab completely, then it would be an extra bonus for defenses. But yeah, I don't see it as being.
But you're still
at all. You could still have 150% rage regen.
Yeah, and you're still giving up on the 5% attack too.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
I want to pull up his base stats really fast because I remember his attack being very high. It's not very high, but it's good. 46, 49. It's tough. I think it's really tough to take it off of him. I think it like you could see with certain PvP things, maybe if you're really, really high end arena, those shields are just God mode. I could actually really see that, especially if you're running all these tanky fighters. So we can't give this a C, I think, right? But I don't think we can give it higher than a B. Maybe like right here.
B.
Yeah.
I will put it low B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lower than this?
Yeah, I think Ein's artifact is probably the best for him.
Yeah.
But this is not the best for him.
Yeah. It's borderline C, and you can see it's tough with the healers because they're competing against crazy good options. Speaking of healers, and one that can definitely compete, Ezrein, unintentional transition. We love it. Ezrein's artifact. So I didn't pull Dasami. I finally just pulled Ezrein's, which I needed because I use him in GVG. Increases the hero's healing effect by 10. Who cares? After Enlightened Breath is triggered, there's a 50% chance to reset its cooldown, which is spiced. And then at max, it's 20% heal effect. So you're really just focusing on that second sentence. Let me show you guys what Enlightened Breath is to catch everybody up, since I'm sure not everyone here is a big Ezreal lover. When any ally's HP drops below 30%, immediately grants a 200% attack-based heal to them. This can be triggered one time every 40 seconds, or it can be triggered twice in a row, or 3 times in a row, or 8 times in a row if you get crazy lucky with that RNG rolling. Annoying that it's RNG, but that's crazy. If this was like it stayed at 10, but this scaled up to like 80 or 100%, this would be so good. What do you guys think of the Weaver's Hood?
I think, considering you're not really using him outside of anything there, I think it's S. Because there are some GVG defenses that they're just super annoying. They have so many immortalities. They have Azrin in there as well. And it's so much RNG, which is, you really want to have a lot of RNG in your GVG defenses as well, to make it as annoying as possible. So, and considering you're not really using him for an euphoric orb or for something like that, right? The same way for Guild Boss, like many of the other healers are getting used at. So considering his use case, I think it's an SS tier artifact.
Prospector?
Yeah, I think it's an S as well. I think it complements his kit really well. You're bringing Ezra in there. That's what you're bringing him in there for. So yeah, I think it's going to be his best artifact. Personally,
the one thing so for where we all use him eventually, which is like just GVG, it's God mode. It's base promo S+. I think the tough thing is, especially the other way a lot of people use Ezreal is as you progress before you reach deeper into the game, he's just healing all over the map and helping you. I think you definitely would want like Elysian Epitaph or something for that. So that definitely keeps him out of the S+. I actually think, just based on how we've defined it, I feel like he's right in between, because S implies you reach some level of promotion and it's definitively the best. But I don't think that RNG is definitively the best if you're using him in Gear Raid 3 or using him in Campaign or Void Rift. That being said, maybe we go against our definition, because the place you really want to eventually use him, it's like S+. So I kind of feel like we split the baby and we do low end of S, even though it kind of undermines our tier. Is that cool?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think we almost have to put it in S.
Yeah, I mean it's his best artifact for his best content at base promo, so that's pretty huge, but very specific. And what? Sorry. And
you're considering if you have someone else, you're not really using Ezreal outside of that, anyways.
Yeah. I will say shout out to Ezreal for the when they do the normalized stages, he's so good. Like where they like remove all your gear and all your skill ups. Him and Artemis are just goated for that. So good. Okay, if we continue along, why is it doing such a weird thing with like frickin' Voroth at the top? It's like reverse alphabetical order right now. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, who cares? Let's go over here. We just placed Ezra and we got Falcia. It's probably the one I'm least familiar with in the entire game. Sorry, just making sure he was still there because that was weird. Increases crit damage by 30%. Extends the effect duration of Demon Slaying Stance by 2 seconds. When Shadow Slash is activated, enter Demon Slaying Stance immediately. Before I continue, I just want to say, with Falcia, like pushing crit damage on her is literal comedy, right? It's like they make it all about true damage with her, and then yes, there's the hybrid damage thing. But like, what are we doing here? Like, push her attack higher. And then here, everything's the same except crit damage is plus 45% instead of 30%. I just want to tell people what Demon Slaying Stance is before I get your guys' input. If we go over here to her kit, you can see after she performs 6 basic attacks, she gains Demon Slaying Stance. Basic attacks deal an extra 160% true damage, and Shadow Slash, she will deal her ultimate, that will now deal 260% true damage 5 extra times, if this all happens when she's in the Demon Slaying Stance. So the duration on this, it's not writing here, unfortunately, and I don't have the game pulled up. I believe it's like 12 seconds. If anyone has the game, please let us know, either of you or the chat. But the extra seconds are kind of huge, but the fact that it's crit damage is like spitting in our face, in my opinion. Like, why wouldn't it be attack? Anyway, Ronaldo.
I think the main part of this artifact is gonna be that when Shadow Slash is activated, enters Demon Slaying
That's true.
stance
That
immediately.
yeah, I just skimmed over there, but yeah, that is OP.
Problem on the rating here is I do not own a Falcia at all. I know, and a Wailing Skull works super well on her, so I don't exactly know the numbers how she matches up with that compared to the Wailing Skull. So yeah, maybe Prospector can help out here.
Not really. I was just thinking I was going to plead the fifth on this one because I mean I have Falcia, but I never really messed around with her artifact, and the way it's worded, I can't really come up with a conclusion besides the fact that you get that demon slaying stance immediately when your ultimate is activated. So I mean that's probably pretty definitive for her, I would think. That's
Oh, my bad.
Damage increase, but
I was spamming chat for someone to tell me. It is right here. I was wondering why it didn't pop up in our description. It's because it's over here. It lasts 10 seconds. So it goes up 20% in duration to 12 seconds. That's pretty great. I feel bad the way I read it. I kind of skimmed over the best part here, that it guarantees this. That's pretty nice because then you don't have to worry about staring at her and looking for the glow or whatever to know, or clicking on her. It's kind of huge because this is where like the biggest burst of damage comes from. So that guarantee is pretty spicy. It like probably is borderline S plus, but I want to give it S because I don't want to give Falcia S plus. And because it's not, and because it's,
what I want to do too. Yeah.
and because it's not attack, and it's like, well, I don't know, I just don't. It's not even a damage boost; it's a crit damage boost. It's the worst thing they could have given her because of how poorly they've coded the damage in her game. I think let's give it like, I would put it. Where's that sweet little sword? Here we go. I'd put it maybe like here. I think that's fair. But don't think this is us saying Falcia isn't an enormous disappointment. That still needs to be buffed again because she is. All right, up now we've got Greed. Greed. A fairly new one in the game. Tome of Greed, not to be confused with the Tome of Horror. Increases attack by 10%. When deployed, immediately gains 3 stacks of Soul Reaping. That's a thing he can stack through his kit. I think it's one of his passives. Each kill is a 50% chance of granting 2 stacks of Soul Reaping. I believe normally it grants 1. Let's just quickly double check that here. Let's go to the skills. Soul Reaping drains the victim's soul after a kill to increase attack by 10%. You can stack up to 3 times each kill now. You can just get 2 out of the bat. So you'd think with a 50% chance on average, there's like an expected value, you get 1.5. So every 2 kills, you should max this out. Pretty cool. You can see at max, everything remains the same except the attack boost is now 15%. What do we think about Greed's exclusive artifact?
Controversial take here. I think it reads better than it is. I think many cases, if you want damage, the Tear of Twilight is going to be better because often also Greed is not going to be the killer. And then other than that, you can also use some Rage Regen artifacts on him. Depending on what you use him for, especially for Guild Wars, for example.
Yeah.
So considering that, yeah, I think it's very situational, maybe even niche.
I feel really strongly about this one. I'll let you go, Prospector.
I'm not really sure how the synergy works with the Soul Reaping, but so I can't really say much on this one. Reading Greed's kit. But typically, I put him in a Nightmares from Sarah, and 30% attack from Tear of Twilight is hard to pass up.
Yeah, I kind of almost want to give him C because he, like Ronaldo, what you said is spot on. It's like, what content is Greed consistently solo killing stuff, right? Because like if he gets any of his kills picked off, you're losing these opportunities. So you just should go for the consistent attack, even on like a, what do you call it? The White Tower Trinket, like the baby version of Tear Twilight. That's better, I think. I think Keen Wisdom would be better. And then any popular later use of Greed is always going to be Nightmare Samsara, worst case Tome of Horror, right? You're like, for Gear Dungeon 1, Gear Raid 4, Guild Wars, this is like what it's all about. Even if you want to use him as a support in Gear Raid 1, you just want him spamming that ult like crazy. Personally, I'm inclined to give him C. I'll defer to you guys, though.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, works for me.
All right, our second C of the day. People are still talking about Falcia in chat, and they're talking about Nightmare 5. A lot of people are speculating Falcia could be good for Nightmare 5. We don't know what it's going to look like, but assuming the description from the dev interview is correct and that the new dragon is like, now he only needs magic damage and now he only needs physical damage, I sincerely think Falcia will suck because she does the hybrid damage. True damage is not very important there if you've ever used Praetus in Guild Boss 1, unless they super boost the magic res and the defense. Those are already really low, so true damage is not very powerful, so that doesn't matter. And then with her doing hybrid damage, that doesn't mean wow, so she can deal damage to both. What I hear is she's going to not deal half damage to both, right? Because her damage is perfectly split.
Yeah.
So Glace is saying in chat, and this is what a lot of us have said forever, give her a button or make her ult allow her to toggle between magic and physical. Now you've got a home run hero. But without that, I think she's going to actually suck for Gear 5, Nightmare 5, Guild Boss 1. That's my take. So that's going to be Greed. Up now, we've got Helga. This is quite a nice one. Let's check the girl out, if I can ever learn how to type. Helga, Raven's Crest. We all got this for free during her fusion, which was great if you were playing back then. Increases her single target damage by 15%. At max promo, that goes to 25. And then also, when her ult is active, it will immediately restore 12% rage. So that's how you know the second her ult ends, at the bare minimum, she's going to have 12% more rage. You want this chick spamming her ult, so this is very good. Ronaldo, what do you think?
Best in slot on her always.
Prospector?
Yeah, I would say definitely best in slot. Maybe even a requirement for what we like to use her for. Obviously, for the stuns on Guild Boss 2. Like if you don't have this, it kind of sucks trying to get back to the ult quick enough for that saw. So
yeah, I would. Any good use case of her. There's no reason you wouldn't want this. I think that's like the fair way to put it. So like her two most popular things, she's like Queen of Sticks and she's a stun god for Guild Boss 2. You need that ult when you need it. I guess if you have your stick strategy really strong and let's say you're running an Eloin, you can totally get away with not using this. But it's really, really good. I'm of two minds because like I think it's underrated that she can deal DPS, and this slightly restricts her DPS, but it doesn't restrict it much. It's clearly not lower than S. If you guys both want to give it S plus, we can. I'm trying to just think through it. 15% damage. It goes if you can get at max, it's a guarantee. There's no world you're not using this. But if we take a peek over here, just to our other fighter things, this is kind of for my own sake. Wailing Skull, probably not, because she doesn't have very high base stats. Realm Tear, there would be certain content, right? If you had a maxed out Realm Tear. But yeah, there'd be like certain very specific PvE stuff you might want to use the Realm Tear. But who knows? Maybe they'll get too close. I guess if you guys want, I'm comfortable putting this at S+. But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, the DPS, I was definite on the S+, but the DPS part, you actually got me thinking, because I've seen some people actually deal like 300-400 million with the Helga on Guild Boss 2. I don't know how they did it, but they did it.
There's one if you have Celine and Giselle, it's pretty crazy. You can get this nice Cyrus team going with Helga as like a main DPS, not just a spammer kind of thing going. Because if you guys don't know, Celine can land like that 30% magic vulnerability, which is crazy. If you had a team with Cyrus, Celine, Helga, and now Lyra with that magic res drop, Helga would pop off. I think I want to put her the number 1 S right now. But what do you think? That works for you, Ronnie? Prospector?
Works for me.
Okay, cool. Let's go now to the easiest one, Hex. Are we good?
Just
yeah, we're
pop that
good.
up on S+ right away.
Well, not even just S+. I'll tell you, this is the best artifact for a single hero in the game.
Yes.
Getting Hex's artifact is like getting Silas Virna, you know? It's completely broken. I guess just because it's so good, I don't want to glaze over it too fast. I guess give me 20 seconds to talk about Hex, guys. So if we go to Hex...
All right, I can make it quick. Hex
Please, yeah, you do it.
artifact, Spirit Siphon is the best DPS artifact for marksman. Hex's artifact does increases damage output by 50% compared to him having a maxed out Spirit Siphon.
At base promo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
And
basically,
with Hex's damage, it's just insane because it's like adding a whole nother hero onto the field. So
yeah,
it's like,
it really is like having like at least half another Hex because he takes his sweet time drawing his cards. That's like his whole thing. You get all these cards. There's RNG in the cards. So if you have a run where he's like slowly drawing the wrong cards, it just ruins everything. He goes like speed draw mode with his artifact. Let me pop the artifacts back open quickly. And once that happens, it's just so much more consistent with all the cards. It's so much. Oh my God, I clicked the wrong button. Frick. 1 second. There we go. You can see he gets a damage boost too, which is crazy. And if you max it out, it's as good as Spirit Siphon. But it's all about this last sentence for anyone wondering. It's so much faster. How much it's crazy. Yeah, people are saying we should make a triple S category just for Hex's artifact. I think no, but it's that good. It is that good that it's at least worth the conversation. It completely transforms the hero. It's his definitive best in slot from day one. From promo run, even without even enhancing it to +2. You could leave that thing at +1 and there's nothing that will compete with it. So there is going to be Hex. Up now, we have got, who's it going to be? We've got, oh my God, is that Kata, I think?
I think it's Kate, yeah.
Kata, Eagle's Heartbeat. Increases the chance of gaining winged blessings by 30% when Stormbeak disappears. And then it now will be increasing it by 80% when Stormbeak disappears. Kata is actually funny. We do Hex and then Kata. Maybe 2 of the 3 or 4 most complicated kits in the game in terms of like different summons and special things and conditions or whatever. Kata's got all his different like, birds that he does. And then you can see whenever Stormbeak and Spirit break, they have a 20% chance. Any of the beaks, Wind Beak, Stormbeak, or Spirit Beak, they all have a 20% chance to give him winged blessings. This is a big attack boost. If it's Wind Beak, it is a big, what is this? Enhanced attacks into storm attacks. It's leveled up attacks if it's Stormbeak, and then finally it's an attack speed boost for Spirit Beak. If I'm not mistaken, Stormbeak is that pesky guy that someone dies and then he does that horrible spinning tornado vortex thing. Is that correct? Like that GVG nightmare. I'm pretty sure that's what Stormbeak is. It's kind of like this storm on the field, and it's very annoying. If you're gonna use Kata, this is really good, right? So it's 20% base. So this reads different because anytime any of those disappear, they come with a 20% chance of causing the crazy stuff. So that means at base promo now it's a 50% chance, and at max promo now it's a 100% chance. This is a nightmare if you've ever gone against him in GVG, but this is so specific. So that's kind of as much as I can say right now. Do you guys have any thoughts?
I think it's, for most cases, best in slot for him. It's very good for him specifically. Even in Arena, there was a meta where Kate was dominating, and he was using that artifact. So yeah, it's a very strong artifact for him.
Was he dominating
agree,
because...
100%.
Sorry, yeah, please.
I was just saying I agree with Ron.
The one thing I'm wondering is because I thought the reason he's so good in GVG for sure, because he gets those horrible storms and they're all the time, and you don't know when it's coming, and then I guess if it's max, it's always coming, so it really throws you off. But I always figured it was after he died, that's why he was making such good effect in Arena.
No, he wasn't used. He wasn't used for that at all. He was used as a AOE helper for all the strong during the chaotic meta.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, top end PV Arena specifically is something I'm especially back in the day quite blind to. Yeah, it's really good for him, right? What do you think? S?
Yeah.
I would say it's not S plus because if it's base promo and you get Kata early and you want to use him, like you're gonna want to put damage on him more than like the crazy RNG. But it's probably like here, I would say. That feels fine. Do we agree?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give him that S really quick. We're getting a lot of S's all of a sudden, so that's pretty fun. Let's save that. All right, up now we have got Comet. This is Ronaldo's favorite artifact, so I will read it quickly and then I will let him take it away. Before we started filming, guys, and before we went live on the stream, You were talking to me for about 40 minutes straight about how this is your favorite artifact.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
It's amazing. So base promo during his ult plus 25% damage, and then at max during his ult plus 40% damage. So tell the people why you love this so much, Ronaldo.
So basically, a Comet is known as a very weak AoE hero, but once you equip him with this artifact specifically, his damage skyrockets through the roof, and he'll be he's just a different breed with it, really. No, on a serious note, I don't think you're never gonna use. There's not one piece of content where you're gonna use this over a Tear of Twilight.
I would argue there's almost no content unless you're very early in the game where you would use this over White Tower Trinket.
Yeah, even that.
Yeah, I agree. It's very bad. Prospector.
Yeah, how could I not? Right. Tear of Twilight is really hard to go against, to be fair. Like, it is a very, very strong artifact for almost all mages, so...
This also like undercuts what makes Comet so special. It's like he's a single target mage, not an AoE mage. It's just, oh, by the way, he does crazy AoE on the side. But then this is saying you get no other effects to his whole other kit except during just the duration of his ultimate, as if that's the only time he deals damage. Yeah, I really don't like it at all.
It's pretty bad.
If they did this and it was like increases his attack by 10% and during, then we'd have an artifact.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I think this is honestly, it might be a C, I think.
I think it's a definite C, yeah. I think
Prospector?
there's no.
Yeah, give him a C, yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe I'd say even give him some rage regen. Cheddar Chad saying that in the chat.
That would be good.
Yeah, it just needs something else. When they do stuff like this, it's like makes me feel like they're not playing the game. That's what it makes me feel like. I don't know about you.
Well, he
Cats.
Executes outside of the ultimate too, right?
For sure. Yeah, his big
So if they just take the during the ultimate off of there,
that's true
increase?
too. Yeah. Then it'd be at least a B.
But it would still not make a difference in the use case.
Yeah, but like this,
just pump it up a tier.
This crazy thing, right, with Obliteration Strike, when it's a new enemy, if it's not the ultimate, this won't get any benefit. His bounce kills after killing anyone, that can happen outside of the ultimate. Doing Obliteration Strike again when he's got the certain number of curse, that's always an RNG thing that can easily happen out of the ultimate. So you're missing out on so much of like the things that make Comet just for a 20-second boost to part of his kit. And not with attack, just with damage. So it is.
Right.
I know people see 40% and they get hyped, but it's a very, very big disappointment, especially for one of the very, very best heroes in the game. All right, this is a phenomenal artifact. We've got Kagiri. All the new exclusive artifacts have been crazy for the limited heroes. Excuse me. Dang, I messed up. There we go. Kagiri. Base promo increases damage by 15%, inflicts 1 mark to targets hit by Sweeping Strike or Ember Strike for 15 seconds, increases the hero's damage dealt to enemies with the mark by 20%. That's on top of the 15% at base. Then this goes to 25% with the initial increase at max promo. Everything else remains the same. I love this artifact. Ronaldo, what do you think?
It's super strong, and the stronger your gear is, the stronger your this artifact gets. Like the stronger your Kagiri is, the more it overpowers the Wailing Skull, actually.
Why is that? I would think the opposite. I think higher base stats would make the Wailing Skull better. You're saying...
I mean the Awakenings.
Oh, you're saying getting the damage boost. Yeah, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Strong, yeah. Prospector?
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, there's not many artifacts out there that are going to kind of beat this besides something like Hexes or so, but 45% damage. And you put it on damage percentage, and Kagiri is doing a lot of it, so that multiplier is going to be massive.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The one thing I was gonna say, sorry, is like Kagiri's good enough and he's on enough like so many different kinds of accounts that there's PvE content you're gonna use him in that is not boss content. So then you really lose this secondary effect. And he's got, I don't know. I think just for that reason you can't give him S+, if that makes sense, because if he's not focused on just one thing, it's kind of a loss. But aside from that, against bosses, like this at base promo is top choice against guild boss too. So like for that content, it's S+. I would just be inclined, like if you're going to use Kagiri, let's say in Gear Raid 5, Gear Dungeon 2, I guess really get against the clone. But yeah, it'd be too inconsistent. And then certainly if you're going to use him in Void Rift and stuff like that, I think I have to give him a knock. I'd put this towards the higher end of S. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I would definitely not give it S plus, considering Wailing Skull can actually keep up to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm thinking probably right behind Helga. Does that sound good?
Yeah, just not above Helga.
Yeah, I agree. I think you can think of more examples of where you wouldn't use Kagiri's for him than where you wouldn't use Helga's for her, if that makes sense. But it's definitely
Yeah.
yes,
And
it's
the
really
difference between Kigiri's artifact and Wailing Skull is not as big as Helga's artifact and anything else.
good. You know what I'm thinking, guys? Sorry, this has been in the back of my head since someone said it. I think we should make a triple S category just for Hex.
Go for it.
Is that okay?
It's that good.
Yeah.
It's that good. Yeah. You just call it Hex.
That's what I was gonna do. Because it's you're gonna see with Ajax and the other stuff, like it's amazing, right? Like how transformative it can be. But Hex, it's a brand new hero. It makes him a triple S hero. So I think we have to do it, even though it's going against what my gut was saying. I think we got to do it. Okay, let's do Kneza. Oh my God, Ronaldo, have you read through the comments from our video I posted yesterday, ranking all the legendary fighters?
I have, yeah.
Have you seen those Kneza comments?
I have. I also seen, just like you predicted, the Wukong comments.
Yeah.
Wukong should be number one.
Yeah. But wow, some people were like, Kneza's the best hero in the game after Lugaru for single target arena. And I was like, wow, I've got a lot of thoughts on every word in that sentence. Okay. Deadwater Diadem, Kneza, talent enhanced. There's a 50% chance of gaining 1 extra stack of chi. Chi's the mechanism that kind of runs her whole kit. After triggering dodge, upon gaining chi, increases single target damage by 15% for 8 seconds. I'm sorry for all these formatting issues. We'll fix this ASAP. Talent enhanced, still a 50% chance for the extra chi, and now when you get it, it's a 25% target damage boost for 8 seconds. I guess before I pass it along, I just got to show people how you gain the chi. I believe that's all in her talent. Give me 1 second. You'd see basic attacks have a 25% chance to gain 1 stack. Triggering dodge has a 100% chance of gaining a stack. Her dodge triggers are contingent upon her attack speed. There's a base 10%, and you can improve it by 3% up to, what is this? Excuse me. The basic dodge rate can go up to 15%. It's always a 3% improvement per 100. So let's say you build her with 500 attack speed, and this is max skills. She's going to be, 30% of the time dodging with the 25% basic attacks. I think we've got a good picture of how it works. She gains it fairly reliably, and also much more reliably from the dodge with this artifact equipped. What do you think, Ronaldo?
I have the numbers actually right in front of me. I tested her together with the Calypso. The dodge and the chi generation is actually quite high. You can make good use in it in single target arena, just like the comment said. But it's not changing her into a different unit. She's still gonna get outclassed by the top tier units. From 11, she went from 11 million here to almost 13 million with her own artifact.
What, with using a Wailing Skull before, or what?
Yes.
Okay.
Wailing Skull, and she was the tank there. So she needs to dodge, right? Otherwise she doesn't deal damage. And with the A1, you really need her A1 there as well. But I think it's good for her, but it doesn't. It's probably the best in slot for her. But it's not like she becomes a different unit.
Yeah, I would put it somewhere like here.
Yeah.
Does that work for you, Prospector?
Yeah, I think S is a good spot. Yeah, S. Yeah.
It really does make it better.
Definitely.
When it first came out on test server, I played with it a little bit, and yeah, it's like at the very least, even with fewer promotions, it's competing with those top things. We can't give it S plus because it's not this definitive thing, but it's clearly quite good. I think we can already move on. Kneza's not someone I think we need to spend much of our lives talking about. We got Lady Alex over here. This is a crazy one. Increases the damage by 15%. Seal of Retribution and Penetrating Vision, 2 of the key things in her kit, can now inflict Mark of Enmity. That's such a hard word to say. Enmity. On 1 more target. And that's really key because basically this makes a marked target and she can keep marking targets. The more marked targets, there's then more targets she can hit all over the map. Because if a target is marked with enmity by her, she's basically goes Idril mode, except she's so much better than Idril. Not in terms of hitting everything, but once they are marked, then yes, in terms of everything. The damage is crazy. Damage boost goes all the way up to 30% at max, and then again, the same extra mark. This is a weird thing to talk about because I would say, 0.05% of the player base has her, but she's crazy. What do you guys think?
I mean, she is damaging like a Silas, and her artifact is kind of like a Spirit Siphon with some extra goodies.
I think that's well said.
For that reason, it's gonna put it in the top end. It's definitely gonna be a nice S plus even artifact because it's what else are you gonna put on her, and it does work with her kit.
The only place it would be outclassed, even at base promo, would be specifically against bosses, which she is good at because she's good at everything. I still think I want to give it S plus because at base promo for everything but bosses, it's so by a mile her best artifact. I don't know if we're on the same page for that. And it's not like she's going to be so much worse against bosses with a little bit less damage boost. I don't know. What do we think?
Yeah, we can do that.
Because the other
low end of S plus.
I agree with that. It's very borderline, but it's like where you really want her. The reason everyone's losing their minds spending however many diamonds a day for the whales and the top end players to get her is because like she completely breaks GVG in half. And I would assume any future content with any multiple enemies she'll break in half. She's really broken. Anyone should go check out those videos. Maybe Glace has one. I don't know, but it's so broken. She's so stupid. And I think what won me over this penetrating vision, this is just a periodic thing, right? It's every 30 seconds she's going to place a mark. Now every 30 seconds she places 2 marks, and these are always on the people far away. So combine that with she's just doing it anyway from her ultimate, which is fairly low cost. I think it has to be S plus just on the back of how insanely strong it is. Even if there's if you use her against Guild Boss 2, it'd be like a slight downgrade. Does that work?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Here's another thing. This is a great point. Nico or Nico J or Nikoj in the chat saying, also, if you got her, you're running that thing at max. You know, like if you grind it up for Lady Alex already, you've been saving for her. If you're getting close, you've been saving her essences. And then, of course, you've probably been spending like crazy, and you've got a stack of those waiting for her, right? No one runs this at base promo. Let's be honest. That's a good point. Love that. Now we've got my favorite hero in the game. So the way you feel about Comet's artifact, we've got Lasier's artifact. This thing is so good. Oh my God. Lasier's artifact. When attacking targets inflicted with 3 stacks of sand erosion, that's something he puts out on the targets. That's like slow and a tiny, tiny little bit of dot damage. He restores 1.5% rage and increases damage by 20% for 3.5 seconds. When attacking targets inflicted with 3 stacks of sand erosion, same rage restore and increases damage by 30% for 3.5 seconds. This sounds good. I'll explain why it's not, but I'll let you guys go first if you want. I despise this. Do your thing. Ronaldo.
No, I just let you talk on this one. You are so excited about this one.
Oh
Yeah, take it, man. Take it.
I hate it so much. It's so it's just vile. He doesn't put out 3 stacks of sand erosion. I've built Lasier's with 650 attack speed. Sand erosion doesn't stay on long enough for this ever to be a thing. Like, let me show you how it actually works. Every 5 seconds, he inflicts slow on adjacent enemies based on their sand erosion. How does he place sand erosion? Basic attacks and his Sandstorm will put it on the target, but it doesn't work. Like he says he's hitting up to 5 targets. The way to Lucia reads, everyone should be consistently slowed and eroded and this, that, and the other, but that's not reality. I don't know if anyone knows why. Tell me, but it's not. He's not putting out consistent slows. He's not doing that, and thus he's not maintaining 3 stacks. And the more stacks you have, the slower everything's getting. It's not working. So he's not getting rage regen. There's no world you wouldn't even run a base promo Nightmare Samsara, in my opinion. I hate it. Maybe I did something wrong, but I don't like it. Any thoughts?
No, you can put it C.
I'm putting it as the last one. When I got this and I read it, this was one of the first exclusives I ever got. I was like, that is amazing, right? because basically every 5 attacks with the Nightmare Samsara, you're getting 7.5%. Now every attack, because everyone should be under Sand Erosion, he's getting 1.5%. Combine that with boosted damage. This is just a clear upgrade. Not that his damage was that good; it's bad, but it's not. It is just worse. It does not work, and that's also contingent upon getting all the promos and everything for this and making the whole thing work. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't work. I don't know. It doesn't work. Okay, we got Leia. This is a crazy one. Another RNG one. If we go over here, Euphonic Coronet. Buckle up, I gotta read. When the ultimate is triggered, there's a 50% chance to grant one of the following buffs to all allies within skill range. Keep in mind that's her ultimate skill range, which is the same as Aylin. It's enormous. Attack speed increased by 60, rage regen increased by 30, crit damage increased by 30. Gets kind of nutty because it's a 100% chance that she's gonna do one of these RNG things at max promo, but keep in mind it's always RNG. What do we think about this, Ronaldo and Prospector?
The thing is, this one is really one, like most work at level 10, this one is night and day between level 10 and maxed out. You're not going to use it if you don't have a few extra copies in it. Because especially the problem is, like you said, it is RNG. And the thing is, you're going to use her in many cases also with the Luminous Horn. And also, the other healer artifacts are so good that you don't necessarily need it. And the RNG part of it makes your runs even more inconsistent if you just want to auto run it. That's kind of the problem. On that said, though, when maxed out, it is very, very strong, actually.
Prospector?
Yeah, I think you're going to use that horn in Guild Boss 1 and Guild Boss 2. I've tried this at, I think, level, 22, I think I have in my account. It's just not very consistent, and I'd rather run a Scarab to keep her rage regen going a little bit faster, help a little healing a little bit. I don't really see a really good use for it, even if you got it maxed out, unless you just want to nuke something quick. But I don't know. Just maybe it's a hot take, but the RNG of you want to increase attack speed or rage regen is I don't know. I don't really like it that much, personally.
The main problem is that I have is with the rage regen. If you have the Scarab and you have more rage regen on your Leia, you basically automatically have more rage regen on your other units as well, because she pops her ultimate more. Right?
True.
Yeah, this is an artifact that I wish it said and instead of one of the following. I wish it was all three of those things. Then it'd be cooking, and then it could be like aspirational. It's like one day I'll max out a Leia's artifact, right? I have this at base promo, and I did use it on my first clear of APOC 2 just for fun, and I was thinking the RNG might help me. If it lines up on the right run, that'd be good. But like, no, once you are succeeding with stuff, you're definitely going to put on, even if not a Golden Scarab, you'll at least put on, she totally works with Elysian Epitaph because she's a multi-target, not AoE. So it's still better heals that way. You could still even put her on a Euphoric Orb if you wanted to. I mean, I don't like it. There's a lot of potential here. And then the extra RNG, so you just never know what's coming. I don't like it. And you're right, though, Ronaldo. It's really night and day with the promotions. I would say this is like the very low end of B. What do you think?
I would put it middle of B.
Okay. Above Apsan. How about that?
Yeah.
Actually, should we switch
Definitely
Calypso?
better than Apsan.
Actually,
Let's switch Calypso and Brokkir so all our green stuff's together. Let's just do like this. I like that.
There you go.
I think Calypso is better than Brokkir, though. But yeah.
I also want to.
We can do color grading.
I want to say one more thing. If I do post this whole thing as a video, which I might just do post the whole stream, if anyone's like a very high-end arena player, I've been thinking about it in the back of my head, like, is there a world that actually this is goated in arena with the shields? I don't know. With the Dasami's artifact I'm talking about. But let's see. Any final thoughts on Leia, or are we kind of on the same page here?
Same page.
Yeah.
I feel like they could very minorly buff it, and it would be S tier. So that'd be if devs, if I post this whole stream as a video and you make it to minute 1 hour 40, please, minute 100. Listen. Okay, up now we've got Livian.
I mean, for me, anything Leia is S tier. She's my goat.
I
Yeah,
always,
it's good.
I always think of you with Leia. You got her as like one of your very first heroes, right?
Yeah, was
Yeah,
like my third legendary or something.
amazing. Okay, we got Shield of Valor from Livian. Increases max HP by 10% during Elven Blessing, which is that her ultimate? Which is permanent, isn't it?
Yeah, she life steals basically.
All right, so but if you guys don't know, on deploy, she's always ulting. So always. She deals 100% AoE damage and restores 10% HP every 10 seconds. And then the only thing that changes here with her second one is going to be increases max HP by 20%. Very good artifact, obviously, guys, but there's no extra block. So that is a huge knock against any tank exclusive. We always need that extra block. What do we think about Livian?
I wanted to use it in Gear Dungeon 2, so she can just stand there for the top Volca clone without a healer. She can easily tank it with her artifact. The thing was, somehow her shield bounced to the other guys, and I think it stunned them, delayed some of them, and then they were later than my ultimates on the bot side, and they ruined the run.
So you're
So yeah,
saying you're saying I can't pull the game up, but like if this is Gear Dungeon 2, this is the middle lane. It bounced up here to like the hot sit guys. That's
Yes.
weird. That's very weird. And
But it makes her very tanky. It is
Interesting.
just the block that is annoying.
yeah. Yeah, it's a kind of a beautifully designed artifact because they always wanted a little DPS out of Livian too, but then it's like what are they thinking with no extra block? How could we use it? What do you think, Prospector?
I love Livian. She helped me a lot early on. If you just like fuse her like 5-6 times,
Yeah.
and I did do that, and she was awesome early on. I just made that my target, and she helped a ton. But I never really tried to use her for damage. So increasing her damage, and in her rage, doesn't she at Awaken 5 just stay in her ult?
Yeah.
So does she even
yeah.
need it? I don't
She
really.
comes in with her ult immediately. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, is that even for I thought that was just always. I thought that's from
I
an
thought it was
awakening.
Awakening.
I think it's
thought it
Oh yeah,
was.
you're right. Yeah, it is. I had no idea. I've always had A5 Livian. So yeah, cool.
Yeah, she's easy to get. So
Yeah, cool. I really like the artifact. I would say we got to put it maybe at the end of A or something. It's like any content where you don't need extra block, it will be her best artifact, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Now we've got a really spicy one. This is Lusts. I think I will have a hot take on this one. I want to hear what you guys think. At base promo, increases crit damage by 30%. You guys know how much I love increases in crit damage. When triggering Sinful Lash, which is for her talent, this is, if you don't know, Sinful Lash is every other ultimate triggered by Lust or any other nightmare does this nice big burst from her talent. So when it's triggered, it will then do 2 hits instead of 1. So you can think of it as you're getting a hit for every ult. It's just happening every other. So it's happening twice, if that makes sense. Now, what changes with her promos? It increases the damage by 45%. So there you go. What do you think, Ronaldo?
The biggest part is this lash double tap. It's a high multiplier as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good artifact. It's not like a hex artifact. I think it's a similar like arrogance kind of artifact.
Really? Okay. What do you think, Prospector?
I really wish the crit damage was maybe just a lower end of a damage increase instead of the damage boost. But the lash is a really hard hitting lash. So I wouldn't say that it's her best on the low end, but it might be if you max it out. But I haven't really tested that out versus anything else. But
Yeah, I mean, I almost I know it's really good in the perfect situation. If you're running a team with 5 nightmare units, and a Toror, so everyone's attacking and ulting all the time, she gets a lot of Sinful Lashes out. But without that, it really doesn't happen a lot. And I guess a lot of people typically do run at least 4 nightmare units, so that is like a big caveat, and you're probably using her in boss content. But if you're thinking of like cool places to use Lust, like if maybe some interesting stuff in Gear Raid 1, if you're doing an off meta strat, or certainly in like Void Rift, I just don't see it being that special. It is a big burst, right? It's like 600% damage because she gets the double tap and it's 300% each. It's very good in like faction trials, obviously goated. I feel like I thought you guys were going to want it in S, and I kind of want it at the top of A, but we can vote on it and decide. But yeah, it's obviously it's not X or S plus, but I also don't think it's going to be near Arrogance, just because I think it doesn't happen as much as you want it to happen. Glaze is saying top of A. That's probably where I would put it.
I think low S at least, because the thing is, sure, it might be not so good outside of boss content, but I overall think Lust is anyways not really good outside of boss content.
Mm.
So
I think
yeah,
she belongs.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. All right, Prospector, you're the tiebreaker. Low S or high A?
I think low S.
All right.
Right at the bottom of low S.
We'll put it right there. The problem is, I guess it's just because we've kind of a couple times pushed against the way we've defined these. We're saying top tier at some promo, which we meant to be like you reach a promo and this will always be the best option. That's not true here, but it will be for a lot of the content most of the content user in. So I'll allow it. Okay. This is Magmus. You love Magmus, Ronaldo. I'm not even joking.
yeah.
Right? Tell me. Volcanic Heart. Increases each instance of lava flow's damage by 5% of the hero's max HP, and then that goes up to 15% of the max HP. Maybe the simplest artifact I've had to read today. What do you think, Ronaldo?
Does a lot of damage. Sometimes you want to use Lunacy Visor on him. You can also use but in terms of damage output, this is super good on him. It's not the artifact, it's his range that is the problem. But the damage is great. It's not always the best, like I said, because of the Lunacy Visor has some value, but in many cases it is.
Spectre?
I agree. I think it synergizes really well with his kit, but not a great hero that is going on to one of those situations.
That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you have the things where they kind of want him dealing a little bit of damage based off of his HP, which is nice, right? And this plays into that. This lines it up. I think the thing you said about the Lunacy Visor and all, though, it's like if you're using Magmus, it's because you want him to also be tanking, right? So I can't really think of. Can you think of some content where you need him just to be a DPS? That's kind of my issue on why I don't love it.
On the spot, no. Because you need him front row, otherwise he's not dealing any damage.
Exactly. I also just realized we need to update him to have that damage all around on the ultimate, so I will change that. I think it's like B, just because like there's almost it fits into the solid one. I don't even think it's niche because I think you'll almost never run it if you have a good Lunacy Visor. But you know, it's not a bad artifact for him, right? We cool with that? Maybe somewhere like maybe over here. Does that work?
Oh yeah, I had to think about it. Yeah.
Yes, you were very visually thinking. You were like,
yeah. In my head, I had to.
All right, on to the next one. We have got that is Morgan. So the only one I haven't been able to identify was Calypso so far. I'm fairly happy with that. Morgan increases the hero's attack by 10%. After the Curse Pack takes effect, basic attack strike one extra target. Curse Pack is, I want to say it's like after a minute, and then it goes to 40 seconds with her exclusive gear. But then it's just like a boost. I'll show you guys that in 1 second. And then the same thing, extra target at max promo, but now 20% attack boost. If I show you the Curse Pack, you can see after deployed 50 seconds, this goes down to 40. And then actually that's what it is. With the exclusive gear, it goes all the way down to 20. It reduces another 20 seconds. You can see her basic attacks hit 3 targets. Now they're going to hit 4 targets. What do we think?
Prospector, can you go first? I need to.
I like the increased attack. Is that enough? And is that curse packed? I don't know. That one extra target isn't really impressive to me, but I don't know. Maybe Ronaldo has a better opinion on this one.
Yeah, I've never actually used this because I always thought it read so poorly. So Ronaldo, it looks like maybe
Yeah.
you've tested it and you can tell us.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up. Don't find it though. But it is really depending on. I don't find it. It is actually a good artifact. It's just not. It's just like Kineza, where it's not gonna be like that much of a like it's not gonna change her to a comet level of DPS. But it can keep up. I don't remember if it was 25 or plus 25 or plus 10. It's hard to say.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll put it in somewhere. What was it? B, A, somewhere A.
Yeah, I was thinking like the low end of A. The extra target will be good for certain progression kind of things. If there's like less targets, now she's hitting everybody. That's kind of huge. For really big AoE stuff, you eventually want to use her in, like Gear Aid 1. I think what's an extra target, right? It's not like her damage is that good anyway. But I don't know why this couldn't be like one extra target and then at max promo it's 3 or 4 extra targets. That like you get Virna, who when she's done all of her Soul Reaper, Soul Grasps, whatever that's called, her Gathering of the Souls, she's hitting like 13 targets. And then you've got her Lord over here hitting, now she can hit 4. I don't know. I think it's probably like the very low end of A, maybe like right above Azhor, something like that. Maybe actually just below Azhor.
6 of those buggers.
Yeah,
just to
below
get the
Azhor.
extra 10%.
I think maybe right there. I just don't. Why does she even have 3? I bet you. I bet this. If I could ever get the dev for an interview for something this specific, I bet you Morrigan was one of the first 5 heroes they made.
Maybe.
Her kit feels like archaic. Like thankfully there's certain things we can use her for, and she's got a good Lord skill. But I mean, some of this stuff compared to what heroes can do now, this is 70% damage to 3 targets. What are we doing to my most beautiful girl? I mean, let's go to Virna just so you guys can see the difference, right? If we go to Virna, she's dealing 100% to one enemy, but she's stacking all these souls to the point where she can hit, how high does it go? She can get an additional 12 souls, and if you keep her exclusive, which we're going to talk about, which is completely goated, she's hitting 13 enemies with 100% on everything. And then you got her Lord over here hitting frickin' 3, best case scenario 4. It's comedy. I don't like it. All right, whatever. that's my rant about
Just
Morrigan.
wait until he sees the Venom multipliers.
Yeah, oh boy. All right, so we'll give her the A out of some respect. Head over here. Let's go now to, who did I just see that we were up to? We're making actually pretty good stuff here. We're up to Nocturne, Mr. Nocturne. This is a good artifact. Definitely it is. Let me pull it up for you guys. All right, we've got a base promo trigger chance of Dark Sacrifice increases by 10%. This is when he deals his like nasty true damage. And when it is triggered, he restores 35% rage. That's huge because when he ults, that's when he's getting a lot more consistent true damage getting put out. We'll go over that in 1 second. And then what changes here is now when he triggers it, it's 60%. Let me show you what Dark Sacrifice actually is. You can see it's this passive here. Each attack has a 15% chance to deal true damage. This goes up to 20 with skill ups. And then you can see during the ultimate, where is it? Yes, during the ultimate, each has extra damage plus extra magic damage. And in that time, his attack speed's going up a bit too. So he's getting more hits and thus more opportunities to land that. It's pretty interesting stuff. So at max skill ups, it's 20%, goes up to 30% with this artifact. And when he does get lucky to trigger it, you're getting closer to that ultimate and getting that big attack speed boost, which by the way, it says 40 here, but it's actually 100 attack speed when you have the skill ups. What do we think, Ronaldo?
I'll probably have a bit of a different take than you guys, so I'll let you guys first on this one.
Prospector?
I kind of want to slam it, honestly, because like the Tear of Twilight, I like the artifact. It is good, but that true damage is a big part of his kit. And that attack bonus for coming from Tear of Twilight, very consistent throughout his whole fight. It's hard to compete with that again, but it is a very good artifact for Nocturne. And Nocturne is kind of like a slept-on hero, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, honestly, they just designed a game and included all these single target mages, and there's no place to use them. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. So it's like every instance of true damage is a lot more with the Tear of Twilight, but noticeably, I see him ulting way more, and I see him triggering it way more with this. I didn't have this forever and got it like a month or two ago and tried it out immediately and switched it on for a maxed out Tear of Twilight, and I saw an improvement at base promo. So that impressed me. Ronaldo says he has a hot take.
On what content?
Geared 5.
Okay. Yeah, I am actually similar like Prospector. When exclusives first came out and you read this, you were like, damn, that's an insane artifact right there. The problem is like for boss content, it's nice to have a higher ult uptime. For all the other content, his ult is not that high that he needs that extra rage, really, because the waves are designed to come now, then
It's a
there's
good point.
down phase next. So where the Tear of Twilight extra damage comes in very handy, and I think it reads better than it actually is, but it's for sure it's a good one if you actually use him in boss content.
Well, I was going to put this at S. Sounds like you guys want to put this in A. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I'd say the high end of A.
Okay. Yeah, I would actually put it over everything we currently have in A. I really do like this artifact. You are kind of right, though. So basically, I tested him out in Geared 5 when I got it, and I was really impressed because he was able to get a second ult up in like that one cycle already. But I mean, I'd already killed everything, so it didn't matter. But that's also because like my account, you know. So definitely, if you're gonna choose to run Nocturne in one of the guild bosses, it'd be huge. Which I know he's completely fallen out of the metaphor. So then, yeah, it's probably you just want. I would say another thing towards your guys' point. Probably people will be like me, and you have this at base promo, and then you have a max out Tear of Twilight, which is a much more significant flat HP contribution. And if you're thinking of like Gear Dungeon 2, Gear 8-5, you need him to not die. That's always an issue for me when I do takeovers with Nocturne.
He has very low HP, right?
He's very low HP as a frickin' mage. Okay, fine. I'm convinced. A it is. Now we've got an incredible artifact. Our first incredible artifact in a minute. We've got Nyx, Scarlet Dagger. I clicked the wrong thing. Scarlet Dagger. We've got base promo, increases AoE damage by 15% and gains 15% pen during the ultimate, ignoring 15% defense. At max, it's now 25% AoE damage. By the way, everything she does is AoE, and 20% penetration, ignores 20% of the defense during the ultimate. Wow. What do you think?
It is one of the earliest artifacts I had. I equipped it on Nyx. I never used anything else. And you would never use anything else. I think it's S tier, S plus.
Yeah. Prospector?
Yeah, definitely one of the better artifacts out there. And if you want to pair artifact with Nyx, it's just perfect.
And it's also one of the reasons why Nyx kind of towers over Razak these days.
Yeah.
I think it's also the artifact.
He's coming up soon. Did I get these confused? Is that Nyx's artifact?
Is that Nyx's?
No, this is Nyx's artifact. All right, well, we're talking about Nyx now, and then I got to figure out who the heck that is. If anyone knows who the next one is, tell me. I actually think I would put her above Ajax, this artifact. This artifact is crazy because this. Are they both her? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Oh, it's Salazar. Oh, yeah, Salazar. I thought you said also her, not Salazar.
No.
Yeah, it's just like so. There's not one thing it would never not be her best, and it only gets better, right? The promos, you're only getting more penetration, more damage, and if you guys are luckier than I am, I have A2 Nyx now, but if you got A3 Nyx, every time she's getting a kill and you're using her in AoE content and she's the queen, so she's getting lots of kills, she's getting 50% rage, so the uptime now on the ultimate and thus the penetration is immense. Little typo there on the increases. Let me change that quickly. But yeah, I think, I don't know. I guess that's the only thing to discuss. Do you put this above or below Ajax's artifact?
I think above.
Yeah, because you don't really have as strong of an alternative there.
Yeah.
Is it though?
I think this artifact is significantly better compared to I keep forgetting the name of the Sharpshooter's Crest.
The Sharpshooter's Crest.
Then Ajax is better than Tear Twilight. as good as
Yeah,
Ajax's
that's a good way
is.
to put it. Yeah, it's a good,
Yeah.
good way to put it.
Because I find this when this was like my second or third exclusive I ever got, and I couldn't believe how that at base promo was so much better than it really blew my mind. And that was back I just A1 Nyx, so nothing too end game craziness. Okay, we've got Salazar now, the Salad Man. Either of you want to take this Bloodblade? This is a pretty fun one. It's kind of like a juiced up Scarlet Hunt.
Yeah, it's a juiced up Scarlet Hunt. You're gonna put it on him. He's not. It's a very simple one. It's good. Great, even I'd say.
It's just right? Just giving him that rage, and he's just doing the same thing as Scarlet Hunt does, plus the rage regen, and his ult is really fast, and he can just keep coming back and coming back and coming back, and you pair him with Lust that helps pair with her lashes, and it's a really good artifact for Salazar.
Yeah. It's like as exactly what an exclusive artifact should be, right? It's just like a slightly better version of his former best in slot. It's the definition of S, I think, because it's like you reach a promotion and now it's better than Scarlet Hunt, essentially.
The problem with it that I have though is that at max promotion you'd still go for a Scarlet Hunt over his artifact in many cases.
Why? The first line is a Scarlet Hunt.
Yeah,
right?
But you have 30% to 20%, right?
No, it's this.
You have it plus 10 to plus 25, I mean.
What wait.
If you have Salazar at plus 10 compared to Scarlet Hunt at plus
25.
25.
Yeah, that's why I said it's the definition of S. You reach a point, you reach a promotion where it's his best. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
It looked like you were going S plus. I was.
No, I keep going there because I forgot we added. I forgot we added another tier at the top. Yeah, no, I think right next to Falsia. That feels good to me.
Yeah, that's good.
Let's throw that in here. Can someone check? Is this a typo on the website? I wrote here. I feel like I made a mistake. I wrote every time the ultimate deals damage to targets inflicted with bleed, the hero restores 1.5% rage. Or is that per instance from his ultimate? He gets 1.5% rage. It can't just be he clicks the ultimate and you get 1.5% rage. If anyone can pull that up and let me know, because his ultimate is a big multi-hit burst, right? I want to say it's 6 hits if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 6 strikes and then 8 strikes with the exclusive. So then, 6 would come out to 9%, which would be definitely something. And then 8 would come out to 12. Let me know, chat. Let me know, you guys, if you happen to know. Okay, let's do Razak. We just spoke about him.
Every time ultimate deals damage to targets inflicted with bleed, the hero restores 1.5%.
So we did write it correctly. So then it makes me wonder, is that, still it's better than Scarlet Hunt if they're both maxed, but it makes me wonder, is that each hit? I would think it has to be each hit. From the ultimate. Yeah. So that'd be 9%, which is pretty dang good. We're talking like 80 more rage or something. Okay, the tiebreaker here, Razak. This is one of my most pulled. I think I have this A2 or A3. I think probably A3. Upon casting, I had this A3 before I pulled Razak. Upon casting the ultimate, increases the damage taken by 40% and deals damage dealt by 25%. So he takes more damage for 15 seconds by 40%, and he deals more damage by 25%. At max, he now takes 30% more damage, and he deals 40% damage for 15 seconds. Very, very comparable to Comet here. Like 25 to 40 is the boost. However, unlike Comet, there's no like alternate artifact that gives tons and tons of attack at both the mythic and legendary level. So it's certainly not bad. I think it's hysterical that they thought this was so powerful they had to make him take more damage. But I'll say, where you use Razak, Furious Torrent, Gear 8-3, he doesn't really take damage, so it doesn't matter. But what do we think?
I think it's his best in slot. It's S tier. You could even argue S plus because you don't have many other options.
Yeah, and he does that. There's just like that quick burst like that. So it's just a 40. Yeah, it's actually pretty good for him. Most of the marksmen are doing increases in damage versus attack. So 40% is pretty massive.
Yeah, I'll say to me it's definitively S, not S plus, because you have to get it to the right promo. I believe you need 3 promos before it's better than a sharpshooter crest. We can probably do the math here, right? It's 3% each. Oh no, so it only takes 2 promos, but you do need otherwise it's just not better. than a maxed out Sharpshooter Crest, because that'd be 30. But for sure, it's great. Not much more to say. I think you touched on a great thing there, Prospector. So after he does the ultimate, it lasts 15 seconds. His ultimate lasts like a second and a half or whatever, 3 seconds, something like that. So he hits that thing while he's still building up more rage. The uptime on this is pretty tremendous.
The damage increase is actually quite good.
Yeah.
Like, makes quite a bit of a difference.
I guess the other thing I would say in favor of the Sharpshooter's Crest is there's still going to be a little bit of downtime with this. I don't know if it's like 20 or 30 or 40% downtime, probably more like 30 or 40, whereas the Sharpshooter Crest will be 100% uptime as long as they're far away, like the 2 tiles plus away. So probably you do need maybe 3 promos to make it worth it. It's again, just like Salazar. This is like the definition of how we defined S. I'd put it maybe right below, right with Calista. It's the exact same idea. Like the way Calista is to Eye of Sin, Razak is to Sharpshooter's Crest. I just will put it right here. Now we've got Regulus. This one disappoints me. I'll let you go, Ronaldo, after I read it. During the ultimate, increases the hero's max HP by an extra 20%. Max HP of allies within the ult range by 10%. During the ultimate, those increases are now 40 and 15. What do we think?
You're just gonna use the Bastion. You're just gonna use Bastion.
Yeah.
Even in Aracha Void Rift, Bastion helps a lot for him because then he takes less damage and he already helps his team out with his ultimate anyways. They don't really need the extra HP because he already protects them. So yeah, it's just not keeping up with the Bastion.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it's terrible because he does have the ability to increase allies max HP, and he's kind of like a support for his allies around him. If you use him in anything like, Gear Raid 2 or, whatever, even if you want to bring him in APOC 2 for whatever reason, it might be a situation. But yeah, Bastion Ring is definitely going to be king, but I think it's probably going to be your next best bet for him because he's not just a blocker, he's blockers plus support for the allies around him. Especially
with his A3 too, right? I think he boosts everyone on the field, their defense. So now he's boosting all their HP and taking some of the damage they would receive. I think it's like right in A, but probably even still below Livian. I mean, it's like totally fine, but for the vast majority of content,
I will give it B.
No, but like Gear Raid 2, this is better, I would say. It's like
Gear Raid 2, if you use him to survive the Shriek, like he's gonna proc his immortality anyways.
But no, I'm just saying, I'm thinking progressing through Gear Raid 2, making everyone tanky so they don't die. If you have to use his ultimate and then he has to tank later, I would think for Void Rift, a lot of times you do not need to block more than 3.
I mean, most of the times, this is the thought I had with the Aracha, right? With the stones falling out, that he helps them with the extra HP, but you don't really need the extra HP considering you already get the 50% damage that he takes from them anyways.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying there's enough content where you don't need the extra block where this would be better, but it's not good. If this had +1 block, it'd be so good. That's why I said I don't like this one. Like I don't know why. I think at least every legendary hero should get +1 block if they're a defender on their exclusive.
Yeah.
We can vote. I think like low end of A. What do you guys think?
Yeah, low end of A.
Okay, we can put it right there.
Yep.
It should at least also give him some damage reduction or something for himself.
But you could see, I mean, during the ultimate increases HP by 40% on top of whatever he does. I mean, it's through the roof, whatever he's doing with his ultimate, right? It is, let me find it. During his ultimate increases max HP by 40, and then he increases max HP by 60. So now he's increasing max HP by 100%. So I just think that's pretty crazy. So, because you can easily build 120k HP on him. I think if he had 1 extra block and you had it max out exclusive, that's what you would use for Guild Wars for sure. Stuff like that. So I just think missed opportunity. That's what I'm getting at. Here's a really interesting one. We've got Sadie. Let me pull her up. Sad Sadie. When the ultimate is activated, when it ends, triggers 1 healing at a rate of 150% of the healing multiplier. After the ultimate ends, reduce the HP loss effect on allies by 20%. So like that gradual save she gave them, they're going to lose a little bit less. When the ultimate is activated, it triggers 1 healing at a rate of 200% of the healing multiplier. After the ultimate ends, reduces the HP loss effect by 20% as well. So it's just she gets some more healing from her ultimate. What do we think?
Helps a lot keeping your allies alive, especially in gear rate 2. It just makes her very hard to gear if you need the extra rage regen and you don't have some extra rage regen for stuff like guild boss 2 if you use her there. So this is kind of a trade-off. In some cases it's super good. In some cases you kind of need that extra rage regen.
I think you just described the tier perfectly. Some cases it's really good, some cases no. What do you think, Prospector?
Yeah, so I kind of like this one, even though we are competing, of course, with like the scarabs and euphoric orbs and that. My problem kind of more goes along with Sadie versus there's an issue with the artifact. But when I do equip this onto Sadie for an APOC 1 run, say 30-40 minute fight or whatever, really taking it far, I do notice that her healing at the end for the results is just through the roof with this artifact versus not having it. It's insane amount of difference. So if you can get that rage, that's really good. The problem is that Sadie, her ult feels like it takes forever to come back, especially when you're in Guild Boss 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
So you typically are gonna go for the rage if you can get it. You know, I don't know. I want to say it's really good, but there's options.
Yeah, I think you both hit the net. Said all the points I would have made, so I don't really have anything to say. It's like the definition of situational. If you need Sadie to be a healer, this is how you make her a healer. But a lot of times you don't need her to be a healer. You need her to spam that ult. So that's the trade-off. But like, it is crazy, especially you'll notice it if you want to check. Run her in healer codex with it and without it if you have it. And it's like she was healing or she wasn't healing. It's kind of what it looks like in the end. I don't know. There must be something else going on because when you read it, it sounds like there's like, oh, this nice bursty singular instance. But it's scaling off her multiplier. It's not like heal effect, so that's always way stronger. It's very good. I would put it at the top of A.
Yeah.
Really quickly, I want to say thank you for the Prime sub, Bijan's son. I also know someone else subbed earlier and I missed it, so my sincere apologies. But thank you very much. Thank you to all you guys for being here. Looks like we still got 139 viewers, so that's pretty dang cool. Making a nice chunk of progress here. Can you believe it? We're like actually almost done. We did pretty good. Coming up on 3 hours, so I appreciate you guys so much. But this is a mistake. This used to be an exclusive artifact, but it is Celine's. But it's not anymore, so that will go at the end and be ignored. Now we've got Cetrum. What a spicy artifact. This is my most promoted. I have this, besides Hex, actually, because I did an essence on that. But I have this at promo 3. Increases the ultimate's duration by 5 seconds and the self-repair duration by 5 seconds. So the self-repair duration that's a penalty against him. He's in that broken down mode even longer. And then if you max it out, you can get the ult duration up 7.5 seconds. You might be thinking only 2.5 seconds, but remember, as Cetrum's ultimate goes on and on and on, it only takes a couple seconds. He reaches max attack speed, like 1200 attack speed, the max in the game, to the point where he's doing an attack like every very small fraction of a second. So pretty spicy. What happened to Celine? They changed it into a normal artifact. It's not an exclusive anymore. So here we go. What do we think of Cetrum's? It's quite a unique one.
I'll let you go first, Prospector.
Yeah, so I've tested this a lot, and I've actually tested it a long time ago when it first came out, and my account wasn't as progressed. And I like to obviously take him into Guild Boss 1, and his damage with the Oblivion Pendant always showed higher because the increase in time. So you'd have that extra time after you take the shield down, where the Guild Boss goes vulnerable, and then Cetrum would be able to do some damage, not just to the shield all the time. And the increase in time, you just don't really need to worry about it in Guild Boss 1, which is where he kind of really shines, where he goes into that cooldown or self-repair. So I don't know. I really like the artifact, but it can be beat in certain scenarios by the Spirit Siphon. So
I'll let Ronaldo go. And then
Yeah, I think in most cases it's best in slot. There is sometimes some box with the artifact where his cooldown is scuffed when you use a Twin Fiend. And then outside of that, like the damage is just better. You get a lot of shield break through it. I think it's definitely best in slot for him in like 80%, 90% of cases though.
Yeah. Well, what I'll quickly say is the bug you're talking about, from everything I've seen, is nothing to do with his artifact. You've only noticed that with his artifact. I just noticed sometimes if you trigger Pyros or Twin Fiend at the wrong time, he can get like locked into his repair state for too long, if that's what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen that being contingent upon the artifact. Just an annoying part about how freaking Focus Fire works. But yeah, it's really, really, really good. It's hard to say if it's like very high A or it's an S, because I would say I want to give it S, and I'll explain why. It's like you said, Prospect, there's certain pieces of content, specific pieces of content where it's not the best. Anything in Void Rift besides maybe like the Ludwig stages, you probably want him up a bit more. Anything in campaign you're progressing through, and maybe even in Gear Aid 3 if you're using him as a main thing. So those would be the examples. However, the ultimate Setrum content, which would be like killing Ludwig, which would be Styx, which would be Guild Boss 1, you just want that thing going as long as possible, and then you can take all your sweet time waiting for it to come back around. For that reason, I think we did this similarly for Lust. I would like to put it at the end of S instead of A. Even though there will always be very specific things it's not the best in, I think it's good enough. I'd probably put it maybe like right between Ezran and Lust. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I 100% agree that it's S for sure.
Okay, sweet. And I will also say Setrum is a BP monster. So if you care about BP affiliation, we haven't mentioned this yet, but like for a lot of normal players, maybe like me that don't have all the exclusive heroes, the Ancients, you're going to want his artifact and get promos on it, because that will be the best for BP as well. Side note, I believe this is Shamir. Is that Shamir? This is one I probably know the least of the whole list. Shamir's just not so, it took me forever to get him. I'm not so familiar. He's basically just a nice crowd control spammer guy with a little bit of DPS. Base promo, each basic attack launches a 25 chance to release one extra ball. The more balls, the better. We've said that for years. And then finally, it's now a 50% chance each basic. Shamir can go really fast, so that's nice. Did not mean to do that. Meant to do this. Let's actually take a peek to familiarize ourselves with Shamir's balls. Don't clip that. Essentially, you can see he unleashes an energy ball, deals some damage, and inflicts drowning water. So that's pretty good. So he can stack up everything a little bit better, get drowning water a little bit more, deal a little bit more damage. Kind of crazy to get it out. I don't know. Have you guys used this and you know it in practice, Ronaldo?
I have not, no. But I assume his ball juggling is going to be better than before.
Yes. What about you,
I
Prospector?
think this is the artifact that you need, like the A5 Shamir, and if you have this artifact, doesn't this help him keep that stun going? Is that
you get some crazy drowning water? Yeah, like it's just like his water stun consistent. Or whatever. Yeah,
yeah. I think that people use that in GBG a lot if they use it, or it's good for him. It fits, but it's Shamir, so I don't really know what to say about it. I don't like him. Even if you got him fully awakened, I just don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I would say
I don't even have him.
You were put. It's probably best in slot for him, and it's gonna be probably top tier. I don't know.
I have tested Shamir with just like normal, like tier Twilight. There's no way this could be more DPS without promotions. So it's like somewhere in that AS range. I think please.
But you're not really bringing him from damage, right?
I think it fits his theme, though, right? He's like, you don't use him for damage, and he gets more damage with his artifact. Shamir, you're not using him for damage, and his artifact is not giving him more damage, but more utility, the only thing that he actually can do.
Yeah, so I think that's true. It gives way better uptime on his drowning water for sure. And it actually does give him some nice chunk of damage, because the balls deal more damage, and then also the balls generate there's additional shock waves now, so even more damage that way. I gotta say, the thing that's winning it over for me, I was while I was trying to listen to you guys, I was trying to read through this. I knew you could stack Drowning Water and make it that's when it becomes like that immobilize effect, not just like, that's when it looks like a stun, you know? So the Drowning Water effect is stackable. Every stack increases the damage. And then the more you have, so more damage, and then you're holding them in place more. It probably, on almost every bit of content, is this top thing. I feel like we have to at least throw it here, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not going to be S plus, but you got a couple promos into this. You know, Shamir's funny because it's like how to make Shamir good. Pull 6 of him, get a really good Shamir amulet, and then max out his exclusive. Maybe we have to do that on test server. Then he's like, he's a little hero. He's still in a terrible faction for what he does, but you know, if he was an esotericist,
burn all those resources up too at the same time.
Yeah, invest 12,000 mithril. You know,
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. Okay, here's a very, very, very spicy one, and I'm sure you've done testing on this, Ronaldo. Silas, Eye of Penitence.
Yeah.
Increases damage up.
Testing.
Yeah, increases damage up by 5%, and then Blood Pact, which I'll show you guys in 1 second. It now periodically triggers instead of just being contingent upon enemy death. That is huge once you can get it cooking. And then finally, it's a 15% damage dealt. And again, it still periodically triggers. So what is Blood Pact? Let me show you guys. You can see that over here. If a unit within attack range dies, it increases damage by 30% for 10 seconds. It can be triggered 1 time every 20 seconds. Now it can also just periodically be triggered. So that's really good. This interval goes down to 15 seconds. So just about you can get this going perfectly. 2/3 uptime. That's a big damage boost. Plus, you're getting the additional damage boost. What do you think, Ronaldo, with your testing?
At about plus 16, 19, it starts to become better than Spirit Siphon. So it's S for me.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, agreed. You're basically throwing that. Well, you got 2/3 uptime, extra 20% damage on the Silas versus the Spirit Siphon, the way it reads anyway.
Yeah, I did very limited testing on it when it first came out, and this is actually how I conceived the S category. Like, it can't be S plus because that base promo, especially for like non-boss content where you can kill enemies, it can really be outclassed. But by the time I think you said 3 or 4, that's I just tried it at base and max, and it was very clearly his best at max. So there's clearly a break point. I would put it at the top of A because it's like the definition. Top of S, it's like the definition of S.
I would put it lower than Helga, though.
Lower than Helga? Fine.
Yeah.
Because you asked, just because you asked so nice. Pink Jesus, who helps me manage all the artifacts and a lot of the website, he said actually they did introduce an exclusive for Selene. I did not realize that. The reason I was thinking, I'll just explain this so you guys know I'm not crazy. Let's get off of this. If we go to this Amulet of Arteries, this used to be called Selene Shadow. So I thought the Selene artifact was just like the old version of that. But no, she's got her own thing. Sanguine Shroud. So this is gonna be the first artifact that we discussed today that I literally have never I didn't even know this existed until right now. So might have to lean on you guys. Reduces the required stacks of marks to trigger Throbbing Wound. My oh my. By 1. When Swish is triggered, deals 20% extra damage for 15 seconds. And then at max, that extra damage becomes 30% extra damage for 15 seconds. Let's take a peek at Selene over here and let's see. So what is Throbbing Wound? I don't even see Throbbing Wound. Here we go. It's going to be in her talent, I presume. What's going on with Selene here? We might have an input issue with Selene. Because it says when Throbbing Wound is triggered, but that must be from the talent, I'm guessing. Does anyone have the game pulled up?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Can you let me know, Selene?
Talent, Throbbing Wound. Inflicts a mark on the enemy every time the hero deals damage to them. When the enemy has 4 stacks of the marks, deals 100% damage 2 times to an enemy.
Gotcha. And then you start restacking?
Yeah.
Gotcha. So to recap, the reduces the required stack, so you're going to trigger a lot more, right? You only need 3 instead of 4. That's pretty good. 400% damage is definitely significant. And then after you do Swish, 20% extra damage. Keep in mind, Swish is dirt cheap. That's her ultimate at just 300 costs. This reads incredibly well. This is definitely going to be a top option for her. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's S tier. I think it's Maybe it's because she's not as good as a hero as the other ones that are S+, but it is definitely pretty much the best thing you can get on her.
Yeah,
I agree. Even though I don't think she's a really good DPS, but the damage increases aren't really that special, but it's definitely going to be her best.
I hate to say it, guys. I hate to do this. Let me reread it one more time to double check I believe what I'm about to say. I think it's S+. I can't think of one piece of content this wouldn't be her best artifact, even at base. 20% damage with a 400% burst happening, 33% more often? 33% more often? It should we could have to test it, we can revisit.
You can put it S+. You can put it S+.
I mean, she's definitely not the best hero in the world, especially if you don't have Giselle for her bond skill, but like this is going to be her best artifact, I think. All right.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there we go. Here's one that I think we're all going to agree on. We've got the newest artifact in the entire game from Mr. Sun Wukong. Boy, oh boy, such a good artifact. Golden Cudgel increases damage by 20%. At max, increases damage by 30%. The key thing, though, summoning a Sage Clone additionally restores 6% rage. Remember, he can summon up to 3, so if they all die, he summons very quickly. In like 15 seconds, he summons 3 more, so that's 18% rage. I think this artifact is like broken, personally. What do you guys think?
It's definitely S+.
Yeah,
maybe
S+.
it's on top of S+.
I think
the rage regen is the thing that puts it, I guess, so crucial.
Yeah, Prospector.
I would just say sticking with S+. The reason being is that increases damage is nice. You can get that out of Scarlet Hunt if you have a bleed hero with, so it's nothing too crazy there, but it is a nice touch for an exclusive artifact. But then the 6% rage, as far as that goes, in the content you're typically using him in, it's pretty niche. So like on Guild Boss 2, I don't really use him. I don't need his rage. I just don't really need it. And then single target arena, he's great. You want to have that rage. So in single target arena is definitely going to be his best. But you could definitely just go the Scarlet Hunt and be just making out just fine without it. It's not going to be beaten really by Scarlet Hunt. So it's definitely going to be his best. But I don't think it's anything like game changing like hexes or anything like that.
I actually really disagree. I mean, obviously it's not hexes. There's only one other artifact I believe on that level. It's not at that level, but that could even be discussed. We'll talk about it later. But Hex is in a league of its own. I actually find in Guild Boss 2, it's amazing. Like, because the way I set him up, you have 2 monkeys attacking. They're gonna die by the time you need the damage. They're dying constantly. Every time the boss attacks, they're dying, which is great because then he can summon more and he gets more rage. And I want to spam that ult as much as possible. I want that 1800. I have A0 Sun Wukong. I want that 800%.
The monkeys survive for a very long time. The hits from Summer actually.
Later on in the fight, when I'm in the
for a very long time.
When I'm in the hundreds, they're dying.
Yeah, from my testing,
mostly from the poisons, right?
Tanky.
So for the poisons, they die like instantaneously, and then
the poisons is where they don't get in cleanse range.
Anyway, and then you summon another one that's just out of range of everything, can't even attack, and that one just exists to die with the comp I use, and I find it really good, especially like deep in the battles, because like I'm trying to push for 200 plus and stuff. Not as crazy as Prospector, obviously. But then Guild Boss 1, I've done so many Guild Boss 1 takeovers in the past week with Sun Wukong, and they die constantly, and he ults constantly. It is just mindless. That's why all these people that are doing like these full auto Guild Boss 1 runs are like, wow, Sun Wukong's so much better. I'm like, yeah, because like you're not Laurel cycling and you're just clicking auto, and he ults nonstop. So I'm blown away by this artifact. To me, it's even better than Nyx. There's only one artifact left I like more than it. Probably a lot of people can guess which one, but I think it's phenomenal. And I think even at base prom, I compared it to my maxed out Wailing Skull, and it was much better.
I have 2 strong artifacts right here in my eyesight here.
I think there's several strong artifacts left. I think there's only one left that's better than Sun Wukong's. In my mind, it's the 3rd best in the game. Okay. Anyway, shall we?
So I do have to say that with the artifact, you're going from you have to consider at a base level, is it going to beat out your other options?
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, a lot of these teams are going Nightmares and they're going with Twyla is a big one that they bring in there, or Salazar. It's a lot easier to max out a Scarlet Hunt. That's kind of like where I'm taking my point from on that. But yeah, it is definitely S+.
For me, the ult spamming is like very significant. I've noticed with that's it comes down to the second line. That's not contingent upon promotions. But I hear what you're saying. But for me,
yeah,
having done a nice chunk of takeovers, I find it's winning every time over everything else I've tried. I want to give a quick shout out. Let's actually throw this up really quickly. And I want to give a quick shout out to Pink Jesus. In the time since I said, oh, she's missing the talent, he just updated it and she's now got the talent. So, we work quick here. The fastidious GG team. Is there anyone else I missed? Sung Wukong, Celine. Okay, up now we have got, I believe, is this Theoin? I think so.
Thala. I always confuse the names. Yeah, Theoin.
Theoin, okay.
I put it as plus. Can we go next?
Let me read it quickly. Increases damage to airborne units by 15%. Hamstring also inflicts 10% vulnerability. Increases by 25%. Inflicts vulnerability. Ronaldo, what do you think?
S+.
Prospector?
Same
here too.
I love it.
Do you want to can one of you give one sentence on why, and then we can move on?
You use him as a utility hero, and it basically amplifies his utility by quite a large margin.
Very, very well said. The damage boost is still there too, so that's pretty nice. And then you just get vulnerability now. So like if you're running Theoin, you're not running Mari for like Arena, for example, or GVG, and then it's just the best. It's his best option.
And you get Mari plus damage now with Theoin.
Yeah, if you're running an all physical team, like I mean it's a little less, right? Mari gets 20%, but still, it's really good. Yeah. I'd actually put it above Celine. Okay, Tusk. This is one of the newest in the game as well. Came out a couple months ago. When deployed, increases block by 1. That's how it's done. Well done, Moonton. And increases counterattack damage by 100% during the ultimate. After triggering a counterattack, increases defense by 3%, stacking up to 5 times. That's a permanent boost, which I really, really like. And then at max for nice long battles, he does trigger counterattack pretty frequently. You can now get 10 stacks, so 30% defense. Pretty nuts. Defense-based hero, you can get a 30% boost with the extra block. It's some spicy stuff. What do you guys think?
I'm not a big Tusk enjoyer myself, you know that, but I think for what he wants to do, it's pretty much like amplifies what he wants to do.
Yeah. Prospector?
Yeah, I think for him, it's going to probably be his best in slot, especially if you want to bring some damage out of him. I'm with Ronaldo. I'm not a huge Tusk fan, but he is really good. But
let's make sure some good content. What letter would you guys give him for this?
For this artifact?
Yeah, just the artifact.
He has quite high defense, doesn't he? Give him an S.
Very high defense, yeah. Prospector?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with an S.
This is pretty. I thought that's what you guys are going to say, which kind of blows my mind. I might be the biggest Tusk fan out of every creator, if not player, in this game. I love Tusk. I use him constantly.
The Tusk salesman.
Yeah, this is an A. This is an A to me for sure. I love Tusk, but really? This is only going to work in content where you need him to do like more than tank, which is like.
Yeah, but are you going to use him as your?
Maybe it's because I love Tusk so much. I do. Yeah.
See, I personally, when I need a tank, I'm using anyone but Tusk.
That's stupid. that's being a hater. Only
Oleg, everything. Every time Oleg's going on.
Yeah, Oleg, and.
I just think there's tons of content, especially if you're running Esotericist, where you're just like, hey, I need a tank. Unless you're blessed with Cyrus, like you're gonna bring Tusk. He's gonna be great. He spams his ult like crazy, even with Raiden. And then you just want him to be a defender. You just want him to tank and wear a Bastion ring. There is other content where you want him to deal damage, like in Gear Raid 1 or Void Rift, and then his artifact is like goated. But I actually would put him like right between Sadie and Nocturne is where I'd put it, unless you guys have a strong objection.
That's fair.
Where? Yeah, I mean you're more experienced on the Tusk, so I take you.
I use him like a couple times a week for takeovers. He's like
I used him in Immortal Codex as well, and I just fully invested him. He made a huge difference put me in the top 1% by putting him on there, but it was the Bastion ring. So
yeah. So like tank codex, so use Bastion ring. If you have some really wacky, like there's stuff you can do in Conqueror where he can be pretty good, then you're gonna use this. It's pretty cool stuff. I love the way they designed the artifact, but yeah, I think it's an A. Kind of crazy that I'm slightly low on it, I guess. But I love Tusk. I wish everyone loved Tusk as much as me. Up now, we've got Twin Fiend. This is a very interesting one. Very, very interesting one. This is one I have, I think, promo 2. Basic attacks restore 1.2% rage. This goes up to 1.7 at max. During the effect of Destruction Command, he can do 3 extra waves of Meteor Shower. Devs, you see how you're just saying he can do it and it's not a chance like with Cratch? Is that so hard? It will be summoned. These ones only deal single target damage, not AoE. Obviously, Twin Fiend's fantastic for boss content, so you don't really care that it's not AoE. What do we think, guys?
How much percent is it per order at 1 point?
1.2 at base, 1.7 at max. I use Twin Fiend. Sorry, I'll let you go.
No, you go.
I use Twin Fiend probably as much as any human being alive. I think just because like I have good Infernals and I don't have any good Lords and I have an A5 Twin Fiend because he's muling my Soul Stones. If we want to save time, this is like definitely an A. But we can also
And let's go with A.
Yeah, thoughts, Prospector?
No, not really. I have not been blessed with a Twin Fiend yet, so.
Yeah, so I have a lot of Twin Fiend, and I have a lot of his artifact, and I just use him all the time. For content like Arbiter of Frost or something, where you don't want him spamming his ult all the time, you need to pick your moments. It is definitely not the best choice. You definitely go to your Twilight because he can do a lot of damage because he puts out so many burns. For content like Guild Boss 1, you definitely use this thing. It's just you just ult constantly. Like I'd say the highest A we have. It's very good. All right. We got something terrible, not to overplay my hand here. We've got Valerius exclusive artifact. I don't know if you guys feel the way about this that I do. Serpent's Kiss. During the ultimate, each attack dealt increases crit damage by 10%. This stacks up to 3 times. During the ultimate, for each attack dealt, increases crit damage by 35%, stacking up to 3 times. What do you think?
I think Wailing Skull is better.
Yeah, not a fan.
I need to test this at max, but I'm pretty sure even at max, like it's first off, who's going to have this at max? You'll never put Mythic Essence into this, so you'd have to pull 6 copies. It is crazy how this scales, but it's so bad. I don't know.
Well, it's that crit damage thing again. She has a really high attack, so the crit damage is probably going to scale really well, but it's just I don't. Yeah, there's not enough damage coming out of that. Yeah.
Really quickly,
we stops. Maybe if it didn't stop.
That's true. Yeah.
Just let her go. And
also,
it'd be okay.
For so much Valeria stuff, she just dies after the ultimate ends. So it's like the burst was already enormous. It's just like kind of overkill. I'd rather something that maybe kept her from dying at the end of it or gave her a chance or whatever. I really don't like it. I think we can't give it a C, but like I would do this.
Yes.
Let's just, I mean, can I, just to compare, right? Sorry to spend too much time on this. We're at the very end here, but if we go to, holy crap, what's it called? Is it Flux Pendant? This one, you can get increased 30% crit damage when it drops below 50%. So this is just instantaneous. Because the second she ults, she's dropping below. So it's like, this is already the equivalent of the base, and you can get this way better with the flat stat contribution. So basically, it's like, unless you're getting tons and tons of awakenings for all the wackiness with Valeria, which you're probably not, it's just not working, and it takes a second, and I don't know. I don't think anyone's using it. And by the way, why wouldn't you just use a base promo Wailing Skull, you know? She's got such high base stats, so we agree, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sweet. All right, we got Valeria. It just sucks because with how unique her kit is, you could have designed something really crazy, right? Something that doesn't make her die at the end if she can get healed for 2 seconds. You know, something where it's a huge attack boost as it drops, making it even more chaosy. I don't know. That one disappoints me.
I mean, if she wouldn't die after that, I think she would be a god tier unit.
She was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss it.
Carnelian, right?
Yeah. She used to be. Pour one out. Oh, hey, Valkyra. Amazing artifact alert. What do you think, guys? Valkyria, let me read it so quickly. Glacial Wings. When the ultimate is not activated, gains a 3-second shield equal to 4% of max HP, each basic attack stacking up to 7 times. When the ultimate is not activated, gains a 3% shield equal to 6% of max HP, stacking up to 10 flipping times, 60% shield. Boys?
Very, very situational.
Prospector?
Yes, very, very situational. Agreed. It's nice to have the shield. It helps boost your attack, and you can use it to boost your range quite often. But Realm Tear is just a lot easier to deal with, I think.
Yeah.
I
I was gonna say it comes down to like, can she get shielding other ways? If yes, then don't use it. If no, it's the best artifact possible, right? So thinking Conqueror, this is unbeaten because unless you're running Elder, I guess, or something. But like Conqueror, she's getting shields now, and then her ult is popping off, and it's crazy. Or if for some reason you don't have a shielder, but you want to take advantage in the top of Gear 8-4, Gear Dungeon 1. But yeah, like you said, it's like, what's the situation? So I think it's maybe even beats Twin Fiend, I think. It's like the king of situational. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. All right. Virna. This is the one I've been waiting for, if it wasn't clear. Do you guys want to go? Should I read it? The Crown of Souls.
I mean, I have it. It's super strong, but you can read it for people with the soul stacking.
Yeah, so increases AoE damage by 20%. At max, increases by 30. Cool. Not as good as Tear Twilight, right? However, Soul Extraction, which is like the key thing ever, this line, it's same for both. So even at base promo, you get this. It no longer consumes the souls. What does that mean? Well, let's show you. So Soul Extraction. With each enemy killed, their essence is absorbed into the staff, accumulating 6 souls. This goes up to 12 souls. When there are at least 2 enemy targets within the basic attack range, the hero will consume 1 soul to increase the target count of the basic attack. With this, she no longer consumes them, so she can just max this out at 12 stacks. With 12 stacks, each single one is giving 1% additional attack, so it's a 12% attack boost, and now she can hit 13 targets, 12 additional targets. So what do we think?
A hot take here. I know you guys probably want it S+, but I think there are situations where Tear of Twilight is better. Specifically during a takeover I made, for example, when you are in Gear Dungeon 1 and you don't have your Soulbound Arcana stacked fully up yet, and you need to kill off the first wave, you need to one-shot the first wave, you will have from the beginning a higher damage output from Tear of Twilight than you would have with her own artifact. Only after killing enemies you have her own artifact triumphing over it. So if you're not able to kill the first wave, Tear of Twilight is better because you need less damage for the first wave. And you don't have the time to stack up your Soulbound Arcana to the max, if you get what I'm saying. So I think it is extremely strong when it can be used, but it's not 100% always best in slot.
I knew when you said hot take that you were going to bring up Gear Dungeon because clearing out that first wave can be very difficult, especially with power dominance off, and having the Tear Twilight can definitely help you more than this in that first area. But if you can manage to get past that first wave, you're golden. So yeah, but after that, does it really matter?
Yeah,
Clear the first wave, you're going to clear the next one. That's not going to matter anymore.
Exactly, yeah. Same for the AMR, right? You need to be able to kill the first wave.
Well, what I would say to that is just bring like Dolores in a tumultuous horn. Just bring Dolores in a tumultuous horn if you're that desperate. I don't know. This is a totally transformative artifact. Like Virna is completely outclassed by Boreas and Comet in terms of DPS for any AoE stuff. And if you have this, she's not. To me, this is the second best exclusive in the game. I hear the very specific thing, that first bunch on the bottom coming. I think there's ways to deal with it. Also, that one you can perfectly time out, where later on you might be scrambling with your rage regen, and that's when you need the stuff. So I don't think it's perfectly like, if you're going to kill the first one, you're definitely going to kill the next ones, because it actually gets harder in terms of like, is my Lucia ready? Is my Artemis ready? All that kind of stuff. Is Virna coming back up? Is Greed putting the slow out fast enough? So I won't budge on this. I think definitely it's S+. I was going to put it as the second best in the game. I guess we could vote on that. I don't think you can overstate how crazy it is. Like, you're right, Ronaldo, that the first one's gonna be harder, but then after that, you're hitting every time. Everything is a full AoE hit, biggest AoE you can imagine besides Ingrid in the whole game.
But if you're able to clear the first one with Virna's artifact, you're gonna be able to clear all of them with Tear of Twilight as well.
No chance in heck. No way.
The wave's
No way.
not getting stronger.
Sure, but your basic attacks are hitting 13 units now. So if you need a time, assuming the timings are all perfect moving forward, but that's such a huge if.
If you're able to use Virna's artifact for the first wave and you clear it, you can clear the first wave, the second, the third wave, all with Tear of Twilight as well.
But I'm saying no, because I'm saying if you timed everything out perfect with Virna's artifact for the first wave, it's like, it's a perfect execution. Now you've got the full 13x basic attacks. There's a lot more wiggle room for the craziness that's to come. And again, this is literally one tiny specific game mode in my opinion. But I hear what you're saying. But I hope you hear what I'm saying.
Well, at the end though, you get more enemies on you in that last wave, right?
Yeah. Also, Pink Jesus says Pink Jesus is saying what I have done in the past, what I mentioned before. Put a tumultuous horn on Dolores. You can use her really quick at the beginning on Virna, and she can still come back around for Valk or Thalon later on. Ronaldo definitely has a point, but I don't think that point undermines the fact that this turns her from being like a definitive A tier AoE compared to the other guys to as good as them. But
Top
yeah,
of S+.
Yeah, this is what I would do. But do you have a strong gripe, Ronaldo?
No, I should have left already like half an hour ago. I just was waiting for the next one, for the next artifact. Is what I was waiting for. Yeah.
Wait, what if we go really fast? Can you stay for the 5? We spend 1 minute on each. These next 5 are pretty straightforward.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
sure.
okay. Yeah. So your favorite hero in the game, right? Volca, exactly. Cruel Fate. Duration of Scarlet Ferment becomes permanent. The chance of gaining it with basic attack increases by 30%. Permanent, and the chance increases by 60 at promo. Sorry, Ronaldo, this give me 10 seconds so not everyone knows this in their head. Scarlet Ferment, from her talent, basic attack, there's a 30% chance of getting 1 stack. Now there's a 60% or 90%. Each kill is going to guarantee the stack. And then Scarlet Ferment makes the whole kit sing, right? So she's got 30% HP and 2 stacks of Scarlet Ferment that she restores if a marked enemy dies over here. And then you use that when she has 7 stacks. Each of her attacks consumes 2 stacks. You get big boost. And this is how you're going to start cooking with that damage reduction. Ronaldo, go.
The easiest S+ of my life. I've done so many gear Dungeon 2 takeovers. When I had this, I used half the gear I had to use without it. That's how hard she starts hitting with it. On top of it, it's super good for Guild Boss 2 as well to apply the damage reduction. It just gives her damage reduction. It gives her everything you want.
I don't disagree.
You're never using anything else.
Prospector?
Level 22. That decreased attack will stay up pretty much 100% of the time.
Really?
Yes, level 22.
Yeah, it's really cool because it works for everything. She can heal more often herself. She can do more damage, and that decreased damage incoming is so good. That debuff she places. The question is, where do we put it? I know where I would put it. I want to hear what you guys are going to say.
S+ for me.
No, I know where. I would put it here between Nyx and Sun Wukong.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
Yes,
cool.
That's a good spot.
Let's go so fast so Mr. Ronaldo can go. I know it's getting late, so let's go now to Voroth, everyone's favorite hero. How could you not love Voroth? During the ultimate, each attack deals extra damage equal to 1 time his current attack speed. Sick. So it's like 600 more damage. Awesome. During the ultimate, each attack deals extra damage equal to 2.5 times current attack speed. Okay, sick. So it's like 1,500 damage. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Get it out of here.
I think it's actually insulting that you can pull this and you theoretically should have equal likelihood to pull Hex. It's insulting.
Yep.
Very quick. I did a Titan session. I pulled 5 artifacts, 2 Abominate. Oh, no, it was 2 Kineza, which is pretty good. 2 Voroth and Abomination. That was like over 200 pulls. It was very sad. Okay, up now we have got. I believe this is Wrath.
Yeah.
This
Super
one
good.
is.
I like it.
I agree. Increases damage dealt to elite and bosses. Reduces the effect duration of the ultimate by 10 seconds. Increases damage dealt during the ultimate by 30%. But he ults all the time, so it's still pretty fine. AoE damage of heavy blow hits only one target. Attacks nor 20%. Everything else remains the same except the increased damage is 25%. How high do we think we want to place this, guys?
I would even reach as far as S+.
Yeah,
I
I was
haven't
thinking S
even
plus as well.
considered anything else ever since I got it.
All right, well, that I definitely wouldn't agree with, because if you're not using him against bosses, you're giving up all of your ultimate duration and all your healing time.
I used him in AMR, and I just used him to drain tank, lifesteal all the time with his ult. Worked perfectly fine.
With
His ult is
this,
so-
but his
yeah.
but his ults.
His timings are perfect. It's easy to time. His ult is super. His uptime is insane.
Okay. Can we put
Low
it
end, S plus.
at S? But it. We'll revisit it. We'll revisit after Ronaldo.
It's significant. It's significant.
It
The
changes.
damage increase is massive.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm convinced. Zealous used to be the most the most depressing one. It only had this reduces the enemy healing. I thought didn't they buffed this? We haven't done it. It also does increase damage now, right? But it still sucks. It's like, hey, this makes him the worst anti-heal hero in the game, and it's a very low damage boost. It's terrible. Right? We'll do the definition of niche. We'll put it at the very end of B. And now a very interesting one, the last one, we've got Zeal 2, Blade of Talkiel, increases the duration of burning effect inflicted by the hero for 3 seconds, deals 20% more damage, and then at max deals 30% more damage. We really have to look into these formatting issues. What do we think, guys?
I don't know at which point it becomes better than Wailing Skull.
But it does.
Hard to say. Yeah, but I don't know at which awakening, so I would put it somewhere in S tier.
Yeah, but we all agree, right? I've tested it too.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a clear breakpoint. Let's take a peek. It's better than Salazar, better than Falcia. I put it actually
it's
makes
around
right about
Arrogance.
arrogance. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd put it. I think I actually do like it more than arrogance because those 3 second longer burns that will break your Arbiter of Frost open if you got a couple promos. All right, thank you so much for your time, Ronaldo. Prospector, if you want to stick for the end, we'll do a very quick outro. It'll take about 2 minutes, but thank you so much. This ended up being long, but hopefully it was very helpful. I think it's beautiful how these artifacts look on the tier list. It's very nice.
Very colorful.
Very
All
colorful.
right, thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir.
Enjoyable time here. Learned also a few things. Take care, guys.
Peace out, Ronaldo.
Nice
Goodbye.
meeting you, Ronnie.
All right, just me and you. I just thought we could wrap up and give any final thoughts. Maybe I just haven't tested Wrath's artifact out enough. I mean, you guys were both so adamant. I was prepared to give this like an A.
No.
Am I misunderstanding this? I don't have it, so I haven't. Because doesn't it like tank his ult? Isn't it? That's why I thought it was like really good for boss spamming. Because like now his ultimate lasts.
Rid of the healing.
Well, because it only lasts 20 seconds, so you have 10 less seconds of ult. Like, I guess on Ronaldo's account, yeah, your boss is probably dead in 8 seconds, so who cares? But I think it's situational. Like,
well, there is that scenario, but I think that the damage increase coming out of Flaming Pauldrons is just insane. And I have mine at level 10, and I don't ever change it out.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. I can live with it.
Defense, it's somewhere right around there. It could be moved to next tier down, but the top end. But it is. Really
I was like
for Wrath.
so ready to put it like here, just because like it's like, I guess he does ult again so quickly. Like that's a good point, right? But I'm thinking like when I fell in love with Wrath, it's when I started my account and I first A5'd him, and he would just tank everything for me in Arena, and tank everything for me in AMR, and I would worry this would fail it, but maybe it wouldn't, because I mean it's only. What, 300? Let's actually check him really fast. I want to get his attributes. What's his rage regen auto is 13. So yeah, you're talking only a handful of seconds. His rage regen. We need to add all the stuff. The rage regen basic, I'd assume, is about 12. You're probably right. It's probably off for only a minute. So it's really a very very if you're getting whacked while not having a healer, which I guess is very is probably not enough to disqualify him. Good point.
Very nice artifact.
Look at it. Don't you think it looks cool? This rainbow of color.
Yeah.
People are asking
Very
what's
nice
the best artifacts for your essences. Any top tier artifact on a hero you use all the time. So Hex or Virna or Sun Wukong, Volca, Ajax, Nyx. These are all the top. That's literally what I would do. As long as you have them and you use them all the time, that's when you can use it. Right now, I'd say the top two to do would be Hex and Sun Wukong because it's going to make the biggest difference to your competitive PvE stuff, right?
Yep. And I've been working on Kagiri's next, actually. So I even did put some essences into Sun Wukong's and then just try to pull whatever I could and end up with some Kagiri ones. But yeah, once you get Sun Wukong, I would go for Kagiri if you have them. That artifact is really good.
I would say maybe I think maybe you're skipping it because it's obvious, but I think Hex is obviously number one.
Like, Hex, Sun Wukong, and then up to the Kagiri zone.
Yeah, I'm hoarding. I have 2 right now. My Hex still needs 1 more, but I just hate the idea of pulling a Hex artifact and selling it. So I'm just letting it sit.
Because once you put that on there, you're gonna pull a bunch of them.
Does that happen to you?
How it works. Yeah. Since I had it done, like an extra 2 now thrown away.
But yeah, personally, I'd say Silas is a great one to put it on. I would say Kagiri. I would say Zila too if you use her a lot. Nothing else here is so blowing my mind special. And then I'd say Kagiri, Silas, and then any of this top group. I'd say Lady Alexandra is something worth saving for once you get close because that's crazy. And yeah, I think that's basically it. I'm really happy with how this turned out in our tiers. I missed when we were rushing at the end. I missed updating a few, so I'll go back and do that. But thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. It was fun.
Yeah.
I was not sure about how my knowledge of all these artifacts was going to be, but it turns out it's pretty decent.
You guys knew a ton.
I was like, yeah, plead the fifth.
I think of myself as having a lot of. I know a lot of them in my head, but you guys knew like at least as much as me, if not more. So it's pretty good. Pretty good stuff.
Test server, man. Playing with that test server.
Yes. Yeah, there's a couple I need to try out. Like Wrath I've like basically never used because I never pulled it. And I wasn't really gonna play with Wrath on the test server. But yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you guys so much for watching. A final thank you to Ronaldo as well. Go subscribe to Prospector. Go subscribe to Ronaldo. We'll put all the links everywhere on the screen in the description. Yes?
Hit that Twitch.
Oh, yeah. Prospector just joined Twitch. I just followed you yesterday. Yes. You joined like 2 days ago, right?
Yes, it's brand new.
Okay, so we'll shout you out here. Good, so. We'll shout you out right now live so everyone can go follow you. I hope we still have a couple viewers. Yeah, we got 125 viewers. So go follow Prospector. Definitely worth it. And yeah, we'll see you guys around. Share with your mother. Goodbye.
Fastidious.